University of Florida really does produce any kind of athlete.
It's a top 5 athletic department.
It
It
really
really
is.
is. Yep. You look at their results every year, where they finish in that Sears Learfield Cup.
Top to bottom.
Stanford, Texas, Florida, every year. Oklahoma's really good too. I'm glad the coaches could fit Duke and Colorado in.
Well, come on. You know they're going to be as anti-Colorados as humanly possible.
UCF got 3 votes in the coaches and 1 vote in the AP. By the way, Matt Baker's ballot had Florida State second.
They got to 4th.
3 guys voted him first. I think one of them was Brett McMurphy. Matt Baker voted him second.
Morning, all.
Morning, everybody. So newlyweds left town yesterday.
Who's in charge of the kid?
My wife. So she picked her up at daycare and took her to their house, and they're going to spend the next 3 nights there. She's going to pick her up between 3 and 3:30 from daycare, bring her over here for a little bit to see me and the great-grandmother, then do dinner and bath time and nighttime over at her house, and she's going to sleep there for 3 nights. And basically, my mother-in-law is in a master room over here. So it's like living alone. God, guys went food before 6 a.m. I can't find my breakfast bars. I don't know where they are. They're in some garbage bag or some bin or something. I can't find them. Well, he didn't hit a grand slam last night, though.
No, but he had 4 and 25 because he had 3 and 8, and then he had 1 earlier than that too. I thought it was like 4 and 20 something, but
apparently the 3 and 8, only 3 other guys in the history have done that. Gehrig. Oh boy, a well-known Tiger.
Greenberg, maybe?
No, not a Hall of Famer, but on those '60s teams, and it wasn't K-Line. It was at Northrop. Who? No.
Willie Morton, Jim Northrop.
No, I think Northrop.
Okay.
And Larry Parrish with the Expos in '82. Apparently, the 4 guys who have hit 3 and 8 games. No, not Lance Parrish. Larry Parrish, third baseman, Expos. Very upright batting stance. Thank you, Mongo. AJC, Derek, Ambient, Spitz, apparently makes a great French toast. Saw Lance Parrish when he was with the Phillies in the locker room. That was a big guy.
10 seconds.
I mean, standing next to Mike Schmidt, he was big. Stumpy.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. And just like that, it's a hump day, huh? NFL season kicks off tomorrow night. How the heck are you? We're Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for waking up with us. Mark, how are you?
I'm good. This week's flying by. It's my kind of week, a 4-day work week, David. You know, I've been advocating for this for about 20 years. So anytime we get one, my spirits are high. I'm ready to go. We're a day away from NFL football. There's a lot of sports going on. The baseball world's just thriving now that I could check back in with the weekend being gone. Watched some tennis yesterday. I'm all in.
Major League Baseball in September. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday thing. I'm allowed to talk about Major League Baseball, at least in the baseball hour, and intermittently in other hours of the show on Tuesdays and Wednesdays in the fall. Otherwise, we go back to football and regularly scheduled programming already in progress. Well, nice of you to catch back up on baseball since you'd put it aside for about 5-6 days there.
Yeah, a lot happened in the last week. I mean, my goodness. Marlins are back over 500. Altuve just hit another home run. And, yeah, I mean, we got a great pitching match. I mean, looking ahead, there's a great pitching matchup tonight. I'm glad they're squeezing this in on days when I can actually pay attention.
That is very nice. And what do we have for Verlander Scherzer tonight? I mean, if you think about it, not only you, a longtime Tigers fan, okay, bringing back some sentimental moments here, but also how often are we going to have, going forward, two Hall of Famers facing one another in a pitching matchup? I mean, going forward. I mean, Kershaw, who else in the National League besides Kershaw do we think's going to the Hall of Fame? I mean, so who could Kershaw face right now in which you go, well, that's a matchup of future Hall of Famers? I mean, and then you got these two. I mean, I know who's the guy, Zach Greinke's playing out the string there in Kansas City. A lot of people think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I don't, but most people do. So, yeah, that is something special tonight. I don't think we're going to have many matchups like that going forward for a long time. So,
and certainly not with guys that are automatics. I mean, these two tonight, this is guaranteed walk into Cooperstown guys. And like Greinke, you don't think so. A lot of others do. But you know what I mean. What I'm getting at here is this is one. You look at the slate for the night and you go, oh, wow, those are two Hall of Famers. And no one argues with you.
And it's obviously a big game in the standings with 4 teams separated by 2 games for 3 playoff spots in the American League. But we'll get to that in a moment. You know, we threw this out there about a month ago. And then we threw it back out there again about 3 weeks ago. And then we threw it out there again about 2 weeks ago, in which we said, I know the Chiefs are magnificent and all, and 3 Super Bowl appearances in 4 years and 2 titles. And what if Travis Kelce gets hurt? That wide receiving core is about as weak as it's ever been during this run. And what makes that offense special outside of the quarterback, speaking of Hall of Famers, but who's one of the 5 best tight ends of all time? All time. Travis Kelce. He's uncoverable. He is a matchup. You got nothing for him. Nobody has anything for him. Travis Kelce at practice hurt his knee. Very likely not playing against Detroit. Chance he misses first couple 2-3 games of the season, and thankfully it's only that kind of knee injury and not something more severe. But Mark, there are very few players who are not quarterbacks who can move a betting line more than a half a point. A half a point. Travis Kelce's knee injury moved the line 1.5 points. That may not sound like a lot to you, but I am telling you, outside of a quarterback, there aren't 5 other guys in that league who can move a betting line that much, that quickly. Whew. Even more drama, almost more. No Chris Jones, no Travis Kelce, it looks like, for the Chiefs. I mean, I almost feel like the pressure's shifting to the Lions to win this game.
Pump the brakes on pressure being on the road team. But I get what you're saying. I think you look at it not as pressure on the Lions, but what an opportunity for Detroit here. Because it's still the Chiefs, and it's still at Arrowhead.
Mm-hmm.
And that in and of itself is one of the great home field court ice that's left on the planet.
Mahomes never lost an opener. Yeah, I got it. You know, Jared Goff, the road record, not very good in recent times. No, I get it. And I did say almost. I mean, I threw in the qualifier. But for the Chiefs, I mean, it was what we talked about. You know, Travis Kelce had not missed a game because of injury since his rookie year in 2013, in which he missed almost every game that year because of a knee injury. In the last, let's see. In the last, is it 9 years then? In the last 9 years, the only games that Travis Kelce has missed have been 2 or 3 games at the end of a regular season when they were quote unquote meaningless games and they held them out as a precaution. That is it. Think about it. 9 years of not missing a single game because of injury. And if you think about this magnificent 5-year run for Reed, Mahomes, and the Chiefs, they have not had that disastrous injury. You know, Brady in 2008 in the first quarter of the season, gone for the year. You know, how many times did Gronk get hurt on New England in key stretches? They had probably 2 more Super Bowl titles if he could have stayed healthy. And we just wondered, you know, it's football. This blank happens. Hell, we think from reports that this was non-contact in a red zone drill. Whew.
First 4 games for the Chiefs. The Lions, a team that many think is going to win their division, highly thought of coming into this year. At the Jags. Played them pretty tough last year with the Kelce out there. Then the Bears, and then at the Jets. I mean, those are the first 4. That's what you're looking at for Kansas City right now. 3 pretty tough opponents, 2 of them on the road.
Now, the first 3 teams defensively were not very good last year. You know, Detroit, Jacksonville, and Chicago were not very good last year. So Detroit, by the way, apparently was one of the 3 worst teams in the league statistically, you know, get out your analytics at covering tight ends last year. So think about what a mismatch and how Kansas City would have come out this year and said, let's see if you guys have learned anything in a year. But Travis Kelce hurt in practice and is not officially ruled out as of late yesterday. But the word coming out is that highly doubtful that he'll be able to play tomorrow night against the Lions, and the betting line is all the way down to 5 in many places. 5. The Chiefs over the Lions. Wow. So one of the big stories out there in the sports world, and we haven't even played our first football game. But Mark, to me, the big story is, when's the last time? I mean, is Le'Veon Bell the last high-profile holdout for opening day? Opening day, not, they show up with a week to go and they're unhappy and they, I'm not signing here long term, or the two sides work out a deal at the last minute. But I mean, right now, we got no Chris Jones, we got no Nick Bosa. Okay, the Brown linebacker in Carolina, got up and walked out of camp late last week, didn't show up for the 2 practices since. I mean, we got guys who, the Chiefs said yesterday, yeah, we didn't talk to Chris today. I'm sorry, game's Thursday. So, could you imagine the Niners going to Pittsburgh without Bosa? Chiefs tomorrow night, no Chris Jones?
I think Jared Goff and Kenny Pickett are pretty happy about the opportunity to play these games without the best pass rusher on the opposition being there. I think that makes life a little easier for them.
I just don't remember these high-profile players holding out, not showing up, especially since both are under contract. They just want new contracts. I mean, I'm genuinely, damn near shocked. I mean, these are game checks after all. They're significant game checks. I think both guys, now I don't know about Bosa yet because I think he's playing the final year of his rookie deal. But, I mean, I think both guys make 7 figures a game check. That's tough to walk away from that. You going to play? Nah, not really. Really? I mean, you're just going to sit home on the couch and watch it on TV? It's $1 million game. Yeah, I know. It's business, though. Oh, okay. All right, good luck with that business deal.
Not to mention the fact that most of them are going to get fined for not showing up on top of it.
Right. $50,000 a day, by the way, which contractually, they can't rescind anymore. They got to pay that. And both Jones and Bosa are saying, by the way, make sure you throw a little extra money in to take care of these fines. I ain't paying those either.
Right. We need something in a signing bonus that's going to take care of this.
So, once again, a very interesting start, which isn't till tomorrow, to the NFL season. We have a nice show lined up today, don't you think?
It's football season. That's kind of what the norm is now. I've come to expect it. When I saw the list that we put together for this year, pretty fired up about it, and always fired up on a Wednesday. Matt Cannata will join us from Pro Football Network, Seth Everett in his usual spot, and Bud Elliott to talk some college football as well. Miller and Moulton, we thank you for joining us right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you see the, I don't know what to call them. It's one thing to call Twitter X, but what do you call what used to be tweets?
Who was it? You, Mark, that said Twix?
Someone else. I actually think it was Mark Lai saw it and he retweeted
Twix? Okay.
Twix.
So did
Well,
you see
cut up
the Gerald McCoy, which is going to make me think of the candy bar, which I actually like. I think it's underrated. I wouldn't put it on an all-time list or anything, but I do think it's a solid choice. But anyway, did you see the Gerald McCoy Twix last night?
No.
Because did you hear the story about former Bucs wide receiver Mike Williams?
I did.
And he said that's his fourth teammate who didn't make it to 40.
Yeah, I knew there was two receivers. I saw there was another receiver that died before 40.
Vincent Jackson.
Yeah.
Like he said, the two receivers on, our 2012 team or whatever. And two defensive players.
KW, I really hope so. Fingers crossed, people. Fingers crossed.
Oh, well, that thing's not going to get anywhere near the West Coast. It's just a matter of, does it turn the way they think, or is it going to keep going further, hit the East Coast?
How about that to derail the season for the Marlins? A Category 4 hurricane smashes Miami.
It's not going to be anywhere near it.
What would really stink is if it delays. It won't, though. It won't get here by Saturday, you don't think, right? It's not projected.
No.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Let's get over the hump together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Matt Cannata from Pro Football Network will join us next hour. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott in our 8 o'clock hour. I am going to tee my co-host up here. It's a little early to rile him up like this. I don't know if I'm doing him a service or a disservice, and I don't know if I'm doing all of you a service or a disservice right now, but sometimes you just have to take the chance, ladies and gentlemen. Mark, would you like to discuss the college football coaches poll?
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. And welcome to the show once again, everybody. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. The coaches are morons, idiots, buffoons, lazy. Pick what word you want to describe them as. But this is why David and I hate polls this time of year. They make no sense, and the coaches don't care about them. Because there is no way that you can have a college football poll, and the coaches have one, where they get to vote. And Georgia got 63 first-place votes. Michigan got 1. Alabama got 2. Florida State moved up to 5th. Fine. But the point of the poll that I wanted to get to is the 21st ranked Clemson Tigers. They're 0-1. They were goat rodeoed by Duke. That's right, Duke. This wasn't basketball where Clemson for years had won all their non-conference games and then they go to conference and face realities. No, this is Clemson, a perennial top 10 team, a team that's won multiple national championships, but based on reputation alone, we put them up at a ranking pretty high. Well, they lose. They played badly. They looked awful. They did not. This is now 3 of 4 losses, by the way, for Clemson. So even going back to last year, Duke, who beat them handily, is ranked 24th in the poll, 3 spots behind Clemson. Now, I don't know how damn lazy you can be to not look at the sheet of paper and say, Mr. SID, why do you have Clemson ranked ahead of Duke when Duke just got done beating them and we all watched? And it wasn't like it snuck in on a Saturday at 10:30 at night or something along those lines. This was a one-off game. Everybody knew the game was being played. Everybody watched the game. It was the only damn game on.
So you're saying this wasn't midnight Saturday night into Sunday on CBS Sports Network? It wasn't Hawaii and Stanford? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't understand how they can do this. In fact, David, what blows me away is that they're just plain lazy.
I have a theory.
A theory?
I do. I have a theory as to how this happened, besides the fact that they're stupid and lazy. And once again, we in the media, and I throw Miller and Moulton in very loosely when I do that, but we in the media love when things like this happen, not just because it riles my co-host up, but because now we get to look at the coaches and go, hey, at least when we do a poll, we put Duke ahead of Clemson after, they've each played 1 game and Duke won. So tell us how much we suck again. But, Mark, I just wonder how many of these guys filled out their ballots before the Duke-Clemson game was played. And I'm not kidding. All right.
Okay.
How many of
So
them
then
just
let's
assumed
move.
that Clemson was going to win and just sent it in? And then woke up Tuesday morning and went, holy blank, what? Can I get my ballot back? No, man, you sent it in. I know it probably only happened to a few.
Maybe you're right. Maybe that's the reason why. Maybe they're that lazy that they filled it out Monday morning.
But, Mark, there are many people who send in their Heisman ballot a week early. There are. Now, there's far less now than there used to be, but there are many people who sent in their Heisman ballot before the conference championship games were played. Because you have until like 2 days after conference championship Saturday to send in your Heisman Trophy ballot. Many people not that long ago used to, because also a generation ago, you had to mail in your ballot. And many ballots got mailed in after final weekend in November, rivalry weekend. So I'm trying to stick up for him a little bit, but I
don't know why. Why would you stick up for him? Because either way, they're lazy.
Well, don't you think that this is where, and we're big fans of SIDs, they are grossly overworked and unbelievably underpaid. But we don't think the coaches have anything to do with any of these ballots except for the first one and the last one. So do we really think the coaches did this? I mean, don't we have to blame the SIDs here?
Yes. However, when you look at and I believe this is still the USA Today coaches poll. I'm not positive if it's still their poll.
I think you're right.
It listed who the coaches were. And the first one, it lists underneath every coach who votes on this poll.
Mm-hmm. Or at least, and by the way, SID stands for Sports Information Director. And that's the running joke in the coaches industry, is that the coaches oftentimes they do the preseason poll. That's actually theirs. They get a lot of input. And then the final poll, they go, okay, I got to put my name on this. They make these results public. This has to be somewhat representative.
It was nice of the coaches to jam Colorado in at 25th.
Well, I mean, that's the last team they want to put in. I mean, Dion is right. There's a lot of coaches out there not big fans of Coach Prime. I like Coach Prime, by the way. Can I call him Coach Prime?
I think that's all you're allowed to call him.
Because he wants to be called Coach, right? We can't call him a Noel. Can't call him Dion. So isn't it got to call him Coach Prime?
That's
okay.
what he would like to be called.
Good. Okay. So, yeah, there's a lot of coaches out there that don't like Coach Prime. Wish
he had a vote. Because then we'd have had a won by Colorado because he'd have ranked his team number one in the country.
Would have been very interesting to see where he would have put the team formerly known as his alma mater, Florida State.
So the coaches poll already off to a fantastic start with Duke ranked 3 spots below Clemson. Well done, boys. Well done.
By the way, Clemson did stay in the AP poll. They're 25th. But at least the media, the AP writers, they do have Clemson behind Duke.
And they did put Florida State 4.
And 3 of the AP writers even voted them number 1, which is what we talked about yesterday. Make the case why anyone else in the country should be the number 1 team in the country after week 1. Now, longtime friend of the show, Matt Baker of the Tampa Bay Times, all right, he voted Florida State number 2. And I'm fine with that if you go, listen, Georgia, 2-time defending national champion. They won by 30 something. I'm still, preseason 1. They're going to be 1 for, okay. I can live with it.
Until they lose, if someone wants to keep them as number one.
Yeah,
All
okay.
right.
All right.
Even though it's not the same team, this isn't the NFL. Obviously you graduate a ton of players, but if that's the route that you want to go, we at least understand it.
Yeah. But yeah. Mm-hmm. So Florida State up to 4 in the AP and 5 in the Coaches Bowl. Behind Ohio State in the Coaches Bowl. The impressive win at Indiana, keeping the Buckeyes ahead of the Noles. It's not like they beat LSU and Orlando or anything. I think Florida State beat LSU by right around the same margin that Ohio State beat Indiana. Seems to be equal wins, right? Miller and Moulton, starting 5 next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, FGC Sabre. How's school going, by the way? So as I was saying, anyway, I was wondering, I know, but I was actually wanting to ask Mark about his fourth grader. But okay. It's good to hear. Saber, it's good. It's funny. So I think we should all start talking to Mark. All right now. And then about 2 minutes from now, wonder why it is he's not responding. You know, I got to remember to plug this thing in. This computer really wants to run on a battery. Good morning, fam. Mark, say good morning. It's not turned on. So that's why I thought if we all talk to him right now, you know.
It's not that I couldn't hear you anyhow. Nothing was set up for me to hear you. So
okay.
I thought
my
he just
fault.
left the room and decided the co-host didn't want to talk.
Totally
to one
forgot about that. My bad.
another. Hey, I mean, it's the second break. Perfect game gone early.
Sorry.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour, top of the morning to you. Happy hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network in an hour. Our buddy Seth Everett. Going to talk about a dispute going on between ESPN and a cable company in which some people are saying this could be like this, this could be the straw.
Hey, I don't understand. If I would have had Spectrum, I'd already have YouTube TV. I'd be done. It would have been over. I would have canceled. I'd go to YouTube. There's nothing that Spectrum offers you that you can't get from YouTube TV.
We'll talk to Seth Everett about that. And 2 hours from now, we'll talk college football with Bud Elliott. I don't know. Sounds like a nice little show. Except you have to put up with Miller and Moulton in and around all that. Right now, it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Travis Kelce sprained his knee. By the way, no one is saying which knee. I've looked. If you could find out which one, and don't just, text in and Twitch chat room and go right, left. No. I need a source. I've looked up like 11 sources. Could not find which knee. He just has a sprained knee, a slightly hyperextended knee. Could somebody tell me which one? Just curious. But anyway, he's now highly doubtful for tomorrow night's season opener for the Chiefs against the Lions. His knee injury, don't ask me which one, moved the line 1.5. Kansas City now a 5-point favorite against Detroit. Nick Bosa for the Niners and Chris Jones for the Chiefs are still holding out.
I'm aware of that.
No, I mean, in Bosa's case, the game's not till Sunday. I mean, Strahan did show up back in 2007, the Wednesday before the Giants season opener. He and they did pretty well that year. They won the Super Bowl. But Chris Jones, I would think, would need to show up today, since the Kansas City game is tomorrow. Although I guess he could just pull in the parking lot at about 4 or 5 o'clock on Thursday and shock the heck out of everybody. Bears officially listed Nathan Peterman as the backup quarterback to Justin Fields. That's just on the depth chart, though. They could change that come Sunday, 90 minutes before their game against the Packers. Did you see Chandler Jones's little out-of-body rant on X yesterday? Chandler Jones has 2 years left on a contract. The Raiders drafted his replacement, but he's been grooming him, working with him. It was just a couple days ago. He was talking about how excited he is for this guy and this team. He went on a 2-hour X rant yesterday. I'm not playing for this coach, this team. Something about he couldn't work out at the team facility. He had to go to his own health club and work out.
Which makes no sense at all. That doesn't even, come on. They don't want you to leave the facility. That's the only place that they want you at.
Was it a, quote, off day and they didn't want anybody around? Right. So anyway.
Scheduled a deep clean right before the season opener? I mean, what the hell?
So, and of course, Chandler and his people took the rant down, but it's out there, so we'll see if anything comes of this. Tragic story involving a former NFL player, former Bucs wide receiver Mike Williams, died yesterday in a construction accident. The former Syracuse standout, and he also played a couple years with the Buffalo Bills. He was just 36 years old, as Gerald McCoy took to X yesterday and said, that is now my fourth teammate, joining Geno Hayes, who was 33, wide receiver Vincent Jackson last year was 38, and former defensive lineman Daniel Te'o Nisham, he was 30. That's 4 former teammates of Gerald McCoy, none of whom saw the age of 40. Wow. College football, we made mention of it last segment. The AP Top 25 came out. Georgia and Michigan still 1 and 2. Alabama up to 3. Florida State up all the way to 4, with Ohio State rounding out the top 5. For what it's worth, Tennessee 9, Notre Dame 10, Texas 11. So the Alabama-Texas AP matchup is 3 against 11. LSU with the loss fell to 15. Clemson with their loss fell to 25. In the AP poll, Duke comes in at 21, Colorado at 22 in the AP. Slight changes to the coaches poll. Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, the top 3, but Ohio State is 4 ahead of Florida State at 5. By the way, Notre Dame at 11 in the coaches poll, not in the top 10. They're at 11. And as Mark made reference to, Clemson is ahead of Duke in the coaches poll, despite both teams having played just one game and Duke having beaten Clemson in that game. Clemson is 21, Duke is 24. Coach Prime and the Buffaloes round out the coaches' top 25 at 25. Major League Baseball last night. I have a feeling you might hear this in about 40 minutes' time, maybe. Red Sox took a 6-5 lead in the top of the 11th when Brandon Lau hit a walk-off 3-run homer. The Rays win at 8-6. They remain 3.5 behind the Orioles, who scored 2 in the 9th, 1 in the 10th, and beat the Angels 5-4. Baltimore 13-4 in their last 17. Orioles with a 3.5 game lead, 4 in the loss column over the Rays. Those two teams will play a 4-game series in Baltimore a week from tomorrow. Orioles lead the season series 6-3. Rays, the way it is right now, you wonder if 3 out of 4 in Baltimore will be enough, because the Orioles with one more win will win the season series and own the tiebreaker. By the way, the Twins beat the Guardians again 8-3. Minnesota's lead in the Central is 7. We ready to
I've been ready for a month. So yeah, that thing's over.
I thought we did it last week, and then the Guardians cut it back to 4. So, we had a few of the political consultants telling us we should keep, we got a few precincts who could still, but anyway, 5-run 8th for the Twins did in the Guardians. Reds with 3 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th, stunned the Mariners 7-6. Seattle now a game back of the Astros in the AL West. The cream is definitely rising. Jose Altuve hurt in the first inning, the second inning, and the third inning yesterday. He homered in his final at-bat the night before. That means he had homered in 4 consecutive at-bats. He's hit 5 homers in the last 2 games. He's hit 5 homers in his last 6 at-bats. 14-1, Houston over Texas. Texas is actually out of the playoffs this morning. They're only 2 games back in the West. Houston with the lead, Seattle a game back, Texas 2 back. But a half a game ahead of Texas are your Toronto Blue Jays. 7-1 winners over Oakland. Technically, they're the 6th seed, and the Rangers are out. For what it's worth, the Yankees have won 7 of 8.
It's because they've played the Tigers for most of those.
And also because they promoted their young guys.
Who are all playing well.
Yeah, imagine that. Stanton hit his 400th homer. Is Stanton a Hall of Famer? He's got 4 years left on a contract. And he'll play those 4 years, whether he plays them all with the Yankees or not. I mean, he's got 400 homers. I mean, right now, if you had to bet Giancarlo Stanton, 500 homers, yes or no, and if you're thinking yes, then the question needs to be asked, is he a Hall of Famer? Because there is not a single major league player in the history of the sport who has hit 500 homers, who is not a steroid cheat, who is not a Hall of Famer. Will Giancarlo Stanton challenge that stat? 400th homer last night. Yankees beat the Tigers 5-1. Marlins hit 4 homers, including 2 in the 8th when they scored 3 times to beat the Dodgers 6-3. That's 5 wins in a row for the Fish.
It wasn't the biggest home run of the night, but Chisholm's home run was an absolute second deck bomb.
Fortunately, though, he didn't, watch it, preen, bat flip, anything like that. He just took it in stride. Colorado beat Arizona 3-2, and that means that the Cincinnati Reds wake up this morning and they hold down the final wild card in the National League, half a game ahead of the Marlins, a game ahead of Arizona, and 2 ahead of the Giants, because the Cubs scored 6 times in the 7th inning to beat San Francisco 11-8. So do you got that? Cincy, half game back Marlins, another half game back Arizona, another game back is San Francisco. 4 teams separated by 2 games for 1 playoff spot. Got it? Okay, there'll be a quiz. Cubs stay 2.5 behind the Brewers, who beat the Pirates 7-3. San Diego shut out the Phillies 8-0. Mets hit 5 homers. Brandon Nimmo hit 2 of them. They beat Washington 11-5. Nolan Gorman with 2 homers for the Cardinals, who beat the Braves 10-6. And the Royals and White Sox played, Mark. And, when the Royals and White Sox play, it probably should be decided by a balk. So it was. Kansas City 7-6 in the 9th. Tennis, U.S. Open. Yeah, Djokovic destroyed Taylor Fritz, 6-1, 6-4, 6-4. He's now 8-0 against the 9th-seeded American. And he'll face 20-year-old hard-serving lefty American Ben Shelton, who grew up in Atlanta but went to the Gators. Played 2 years there. Now his first full year on tour. He's already top 50 in the world. Now he's in the semis of the U.S. Open at 20. 20!
I was happy. I was rooting for him last night. I didn't stick out the whole match because they were in the second set. It was 20 after 10. I made a calculated decision that this sucker could go right around till midnight if it goes 5, and I don't have it in me for a quarterfinal. But I was hoping he would win because I want to see the bigger server
against Djokovic.
Play Djokovic.
And the third set was the key. It went to a tie break. Shelton won at 9-7, and then he won 6-2 in the 4th. Meanwhile, Coco Gauff routed Ostapenko, who took out the top seed over the weekend, and then Gauff routed her yesterday, 6-love, 6-2. She's in her first U.S. Open semifinal. She's the first American teenager on the women's side to make the semis since Serena back in 2001.
She was great in her interview about that when she said, I'm not getting you. She's, honored. It's my hero and all those things. She said, but since it was the first quarterfinal for an American teenager, I was pretty sure it was a semifinal. If I'm able to win, I'm guessing it's going to be the first teenager in a final too.
Gauff will face the 10th seed Karolina Muchova out of the Czech Republic in the semis. And at 9 minutes before the hour, gentlemen, that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So Coco Gauff and Ben Shelton with their hands raised in the air saying, we are the future of U.S. tennis at 19 and 20 years of age, respectively. Now let's see if any of you will pay attention. Or have you changed all your tennis courts to pickleball courts already? By the way, Jack Sock, I believe, is the U.S. men's player who announced his retirement after the U.S. Open. He's going straight to the professional pickleball tour, where he says he will make high 6 figures next year.
There are 2 other tennis players that have done the same thing in the last 6 months that have moved from tennis to pickleball.
My condo development just got rid of half the tennis courts, turned them into pickleball courts.
I don't understand. I live at a place that's got 2 pickleball courts and 3 tennis courts. There is never a soul. Never. My wife and I grabbed the tennis rackets like a month ago and went and hit for something to do one night. I've never seen anybody on these tennis courts. Don't know why they're there.
It's like baseball fields that sit abandoned, during the spring and summer, and you look at them and you go, oh, come on. Nobody plays baseball anymore? Just grab the glove and the ball and a bat. Come on now. Hit it, chase it. No?
Opposite field out. Don't you guys remember any of these rules? I mean, come on. There's a lot of ways to do this. You don't need 9 for crying out loud.
Opposite field out. That's a ground ball. That's an out. It was a hard hit grounder. Come on. I don't know what to tell you. It's a ground ball. It's an out. No? Oh, well. A couple old guys.
Grew up on Vic's vacant lot, for crying out loud. Google it.
Google me, Chuck. Google me. Miller and Moulton. Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network. He will join us next hour. Seth Everett's an hour away. Bud Elliott about 90 minutes away. Right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost, a team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. You're right, Butter Biscuit. They've now taken 5 of 6 from Detroit over that span too. You're absolutely right. I put the weekend on hold because I don't watch baseball on the weekend. I watch football. And I don't give a damn right now about the New York Yankees because they're in last place. So that's on me. You're right. I'm wrong.
Well, the one thing I will say there, Butter Biscuit, or is it Butter 3 RBI Biscuit? I don't know.
Butter Biscuit.
Butter Biscuit is I hope this saves Boone's job because I don't feel that Boone deserves to be fired for this year. If you were going to get rid of Boone, it should have been, but this roster is all on Cashman. Okay. And to me, if they fire Boone, they're scapegoating him. So at this rate, I hope they finish above 500, keep that streak going, and that Boone at least gets a chance with a better roster.
And personally, I'd like to see him finish 10, 12 games below 500.
What'd they get to? 6 below, I think. They were 62 and 68. They won 7 of 8, and now they're 500 again. Yeah. RCB, Texas's pitching has completely fallen apart. Apparently, their bullpen's like the worst in baseball. I think one of the Dallas media folks yesterday went to X and said that the Rangers were going to have open tryouts on Thursday. If you have a pulse in one arm, you're invited to attend.
10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com, which is where you can go if you miss any part of the show and you don't want to miss what's coming up. Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network, a little over 35 minutes time. Seth Everett, 1 hour from now. Bud Elliott, talking all things college football at a little past 8:30. This is our normal Wednesday lineup. Pro Football Network, Seth Everett, Bud Elliott. We think it's got something to offer. We hope you do as well. So there. Got JP Shadrick talking Jags. He also broadcast Coach Prime in Colorado upsetting TCU Saturday on Westwood One Radio. So we'll talk to JP about Colorado and the Jags tomorrow. And Roy Cummings will join us to talk all things Tampa Bay Bucks tomorrow as well. So we got that going for us, which is nice.
Text line is open at 21,000-21,000. If you've never texted the show before, text the keyword FSN Radio, like Florida Sports Network. FSN Radio, text that one time, then you are behind the gate and can text as much as you would like. Like someone sent a text late yesterday in the show that just simply said, Rams will have the number 1 pick.
Ooh, to put money on anyone not named the Arizona Cardinals, it feels like a bold bet, but okay. All right. Should we do that today? Just say to you, hey, text us 21,000, Twitch chat room. Give us your boldest NFL prediction for the year. You're only one, by the way. One. Something bold. Okay, like Chiefs aren't going to make the playoffs. That would fall under the bold category.
That would really fall into the bold category.
Right. Eagles aren't going to make the playoffs. That's really bold. But if you say, let's see, Jacksonville will not win the AFC South. Okay. I mean, that qualifies. Don't you think?
So Jacksonville being the 2 seed isn't a bold statement.
Well, my bold statement for the day is that I think the Jags are going to be the 1 seed.
That is a bold statement.
That's my bold statement. I think the North will beat each other up. I think there'll be a little bit of regression in Kansas City. The other thing that I'm counting on is exactly what happened in 2021. Tennessee beat the Chiefs and the Bills both in Nashville during the regular season. Therefore, they had the tiebreaker. They went into the playoffs 2 years ago as the 1 seed. The 4th-seeded Bengals upset them in the divisional round. Ryan Tannehill's worst moment in the NFL, 4 turnovers in a playoff game. And that was their moment in time. They'll never get it back.
I like it. Your bold NFL predictions.
Yeah. What's your bold pick? And we're going to make our NFL picks, by the way, on Friday, just for the season. And if you don't know us very well, there's nothing that could happen, okay, outside of Mahomes getting seriously hurt tomorrow that's going to alter our picks for the year. Okay,
might have been done for a week. They've just been sitting here in a notepad waiting to do a segment.
Right. Remember, Mark went through the schedule. Okay, his life is scintillating these days also. He went through game by game, okay, and worked it all out. So the math's correct and the team and what have. Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
But I'm looking at it, and there's not a lot of bold predictions on this sheet, David, as you know me pretty well.
All right. Can I ask you this without giving us specifics? You and I have been pretty big on the how many teams will miss the playoffs who made it a year ago. That is the stat we have followed very closely over our 15 plus years together. When it was just 12 teams in the playoff, every single year, 4 or more teams would miss the playoffs the next year, but almost every year for nearly 20 years, 5 new playoff teams would happen every year, and some years it would be 6. So the number was 5. When we would do our picks, we would go, remember, whatever you're going to pick, we got to have 5 new playoff teams because that's what happens every year. So I'm curious, out of the 14 playoff teams, how many new ones, no specifics, how many new playoff teams do you have?
5.
Okay. All right. Good going.
Had to take a few out. I mean, and you're right. You have to look at it. And there's still, I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to be so wrong because there will be a team that comes out of nowhere.
Sure. Well, this time of year last year, the Eagles were coming off a 9-8 season where they snuck in as the 7 seed, having won the tiebreaker with New Orleans. And look at what they did. They were the 1 seed. They lost in the final seconds of the Super Bowl.
I'm waiting for someone to give me their bold prediction that Green Bay will win the NFC North.
There you go. That worked, though. They finished 3rd a year ago and got rid of Rodgers. That would qualify. Like Wes in our Twitch chat room. Steelers will be a top 3 seed in the AFC. Okay. That qualifies to me. They've won 9 games each of the last 2 years. 9-7-1 2 years ago, 9-8 last year. Missed the playoffs last year. So, okay. That sneaks in.
A texter setting in that the Bucs will play in the NFC Championship game.
Wow.
Does that vault over bold and go crazy? Maybe.
That's we need to make sure the medication's been adjusted, and but okay. All right. KW, Saints go to the NFC Championship game. You could see a path. I mean, there are some people really high on the Saints who think that they are clearly the best team in the South and that therefore they will steamroll that division with a 5-1, 6-0 record. And you take a look at the NFC South crossover schedules, it's doable, and that they'll have a gaudy seeding, and that in theory, they could be a force, a factor. How about this? A factor in the NFC playoffs. Okay.
I love your the bold prediction you just gave with now the Kelsey news that Kansas City misses the playoffs.
No. I said that would qualify as a bold.
Right. That would be, and I think people are starting to, I think you'll hear now, not just that, but you'll hear people wondering if this Kansas City dynasty has really suffered a setback now with Kelsey and what this is going to entail. If it's just a game, it's not a big deal. If it's 4 games, how big of a deal is it? Obviously, it could linger on all year long.
Here's my bold prediction, though. The Chiefs will have to play a road playoff game this year. How about that? Patrick Mahomes will finally, his 6th year as a starter, having made the playoffs all 6 years, have to play a road playoff game.
It's not that bold. My only bold prediction is that Cincinnati will win the Super Bowl.
Well, it's pretty bold. It's never happened before. So, I know some people may go, that's not that bold. If it's never happened before, come on now. I mean, it's somewhat bold, right? I mean, it's on the scale. It's climbing the ladder at least. So, all right.
Jared Goff will garner serious MVP consideration.
All right. Now you're falling off the ladder. Now you're going nuts. Okay. All right. Once it's the altitude, start climbing that ladder, start getting in those rare air. Okay. All right, big fella. Take it easy.
Now, this is a bold prediction. The Giants will win the East.
Oh, wow. That's bold. That is bold. I'll tell you what. How about, can the Giants win the opener? That to me would be enough. Cowboys have owned them in recent years, and the Giants, I think, are starting 2 rookie corners.
Other than when they opened Jarrow World, right? That's the Giants got him when he opened the
opening day, right? Yeah, at Jerry's place. Yeah, the Cowboys are 5-1 on opening day in recent times against the Giants. Even the Giants Super Bowl year, the first time they won the Super Bowl in '86, they opened the year in Dallas, and the Cowboys beat them. I think on Monday Night Football, actually. So, some guy named Herschel Walker had a big day. Remember him?
But I just love we can start looking not just at, the season with the NFL, but we did it a little bit with Pat Kerwin yesterday, just how sexy some of these week 1 games are. And it's not college. The whole season's not week 1. You're not going to play your way out of a championship like LSU may have had with their loss. But can the Bengals go into Cleveland and win somewhere where Joe Burrow doesn't fare very well?
Well, isn't he just like 1-5 against the Browns or something like that? And we did the game on Monday Night Football last year in Halloween. I mean, the Browns spanked them. And Myles Garrett's numbers against Cleveland are like go straight to the Hall of Fame now. They're so amazing.
Bengals are a 2.5-point favorite in that game.
By the way, there was a report overnight that the Bengals and Burrow are going to work out the record-setting contract before opening day. We'll see. We'll see. Hey, let me ask you. Justin Jefferson wants to be the highest-paid receiver in NFL history. He's looking for Aaron Donald-type money. Would you pay Justin Jefferson $30 a year? Even if you think he's the best receiver in the game, do you want to be spending that much money on a receiver?
No. But with the way the cap's going up and they've got another rookie receiver, Cousins isn't super expensive, they may be able to get away with it.
Well, he's not super expensive this year, but they got nobody to replace him. And Kirk Cousins can say no. He plays this business thing at a very high level. So I'm just wondering, I mean, Kirk Cousins could be making 45 next year if the Vikings are forced to re-sign him, and he could be throwing to a $30 million wide receiver. It'd be $75 million completions. That seems like a lot of money.
Boy, you sure hope there'd be about 110 of them if that were the case.
About 20 touchdowns.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, man. Yeah, the Manning cast auditions. Yeah, that was fun. It's interesting all the people that got to do cameos. Headed to Ann Arbor for the big UNLV Michigan matchup. So, but if you think about it, Gary's going to see Ohio State week 1, Michigan week 2, Georgia week 3.
Can't wait to ask about the eyeball test.
Got to go back a few years with Miller and Moulton on that one, but that's quality material, ladies and gentlemen.
Where do they have you? You guys staying in Ann Arbor?
Friday night, we're actually staying by the airport. Saturday night, we both have early Sunday flights. So UNLV, Michigan.
The Metro Airport's pretty close to Ann Arbor.
Well, that's what I thought. I don't know why they,
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Matt Cannata. He's not just from Pro Football Network. He founded Pro Football Network. We'll get his thoughts on the eve of the NFL season kicking off in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Seth Everett, 40 minutes from now. Bud Elliott in a little more than an hour to talk all things college football. We're asking you on the eve of the NFL season kicking off, and don't just say something just to say something. Pretend like you're hosting a radio show. And this is something you're going to have to live with all year and maybe for years if it's too crazy of a prediction and too wrong. But just what's your one bold prediction for this year in the NFL? Like, a gentleman in our Twitch chat room said, I actually think the Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl. Wow. Okay.
Back-to-back text. Tua will play 6 games. The next text, Tua breaks the season TD record.
Both are bold. Broncos win the AFC West. That was sent in. Falcons win the NFC South. End a playoff game. Oh, okay. Cleveland winning the AFC North. That would be a la Atlanta. Wouldn't that be a little worse to first action? So, I would just one bold pick like mine. We're going to make our official who we think is going to make the playoffs and put records next to teams and what have you. We'll do that Friday. But because there's nothing that could happen outside of a Mahomes injury tomorrow that would dramatically alter our picks. I mean, as Mark said, his have been written down for darn near 2 weeks with records next to the teams and everything. But I think Jacksonville's going to be the 1 seed. I do. They get all the first place teams at home. They play Buffalo and London, which is their home away from home. And to me, I mean, if somebody has a better division record than the Jags, then that's on the Jags. Because every other division is a lot harder. I mean, 5-1 at minimum should be Jacksonville's AFC South division record. They get San Francisco, Cincinnati, and Kansas City all at home. Buffalo and London. I mean, come on, boys. I mean, get it. So I got the Jags as the 1 seed in the AFC playoffs, and I'll go one step further. They host the AFC Championship game.
Oh, my.
Well, they're the ones.
Cincinnati's got to go to Jacksonville to win this whole thing? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, Mark, if that's the case, it'll be their second time going to Jacksonville. In theory, they lose the first time, win the second. So that's my pick because they'll be the 1 seed, so they'll get a bye. They only have to win 1 playoff game. They'll host, in theory, winner of the 4-5 game, or if there's a 6-7 upset, they'll host them. I mean, just so yeah, that's that. There you go. That's my press the envelope pick.
Tell you what, there are no guarantees though in the AFC when it comes to the 2-7, 3-6. I mean,
No.
the way we look at the AFC, the 7 could very well be every bit as good as the 2.
Listen, Mark, the 7 could win the Super Bowl out of the AFC. You and I truly believe that. We do not think there will be a 9-win team that limps into the playoffs in the AFC this year and is basically a sitting duck in the first round of the playoffs, as the Dolphins were with a third-string quarterback last year, and the Steelers were with Roethlisberger's final team, which had no chance in Kansas City.
Now, I have two 10-win teams missing the playoffs in the AFC.
See? That's a bold pick, by the way.
So, I mean, I think we both think the AFC is loaded, and there are going to be good teams that are not going to be playing into January because, well, the AFC is that good. Couple other texters. Oh, boy. Lions fan here says Steelers win the division. Bold prediction. Niners and Dolphins do not make the playoffs. This is as bold as it gets. This is screaming right at me, David, this texter. Dak will make it to the NFC Championship game and win the MVP.
Ooh. All right. I like it. I like it because we got another person in the Twitch chat room that says that the Cowboys miss the playoffs and the Cowboys move on from Dak.
Would you say this is Dak's last year?
Well, we got one of those. Now, I would never say that, but if you're not a Dak guy, you don't believe in him. I don't know contractually how they can next year. I think his cap hit next year is monstrous, but next year is the final year of his contract, though.
They signed Brandon Cooks. Could help.
It better help.
It better help.
Wow.
Eagles go undefeated, win their second Super Bowl. Wow. Jets get a top 10 pick in the draft.
Damn. That's got to be like a Dolphins fan there.
I can
That's
tell by the area code it's a Dolphins fan.
Yeah, there's some angst there. Well, Mark, maybe they're just like you and they're tired of the Jets hype already.
And then the next sector, Garrett Wilson, 150 catches, 2,000 yards receiving, and the Jets win the Super Bowl. Oh, boy.
So there you go. Just, but something you believe in. They don't just say something to say something.
Yeah, I think you're trying to get me to read text. You're going a little off the path. But that's all right. We asked for bold predictions.
Yeah.
When you ask for bold predictions, it's tough to reel them back in, David.
But I would like to think it's bold predictions that you actually mean. That's all. But Matt Cannata will join us in 10 minutes. Right now, it's time for young Felipe and the play of the day.
Well, we got to soak in all the baseball energy we have left before football inevitably takes over. The Rays hosting the Red Sox last night, and Brandon Lau was the hero, Neil Solandos of 95.3 WDAE on the call.
Swing and a drive deep toward the right field corner. Gone! 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 The Rays have won it, and Brandon Lau has walked it off.
Rays win 8-6 in the 11th.
Braves blew a golden opportunity at the bottom of the 10th, too. They had first and third, nobody out, bases loaded, one out, didn't score. Then the Red Sox score in the top of the 11th, and you're going, oh, man, this could be a crushing loss.
Well, and I think it was crushing for the Red Sox, who are trying to get back into a wild card race. They'd given up the first 5 runs, I think, on 2 hits. I mean, the Rays built a 5-2 lead with hit batsmen, walks, and some bad play by Boston. So they rally back to get a lead and then blow it again. That's a tough one for the Sox to overcome if they're going to try to make a run at this final wild card spot.
Boston 5 back for the final playoff spot. So, yeah. And with how many teams they have to leapfrog? They have to leapfrog Texas and technically Toronto. So they have to leapfrog 2 teams, so they're 5 back. And remember, we're down to about 25 or so games to play.
Yeah, I thought last night was a killer for them. If the way that worked out, I think you can stick a fork in the Red Sox. But a big win for the Rays as they're trying to keep up with the O's, which is tough to do, David, because they don't lose.
They will never lose again. They've won 13 of their last 17. They're up 4 in the loss column on the Rays. It's 3.5 of the standings, 4 in the loss column, and The O's own the season series right now 6-3. They'll play a 4-gamer beginning a week from tomorrow in Baltimore. That Thursday night game, by the way, will be on Fox, going up against the NFL, but it'll be on Fox. And, if the Orioles win just one of those 4, they'll own the tiebreaker, having won the season series. So Rays in a tough spot here. They got to pick up at least a game between now and that Orioles series, take 3 out of 4 in Baltimore, and then they'll be right on their heels.
Seth Everett and Bud Elliott in our 8 o'clock hour, but it's Matt Cannata from Pro Football Network. He is up next to get ready for the season. It begins tomorrow in Kansas City. Thanks for listening, Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
My internet okay?
It's okay.
Damn, this was my biggest fear. Our condo, brand new kitchen because basically nothing in it worked. And not basically, I mean, outside of the fridge and the dishwasher, everything else didn't work. And also the entire condo had popcorn ceilings. So, and an ugly paint color. So we had to scrape every inch of the place and repaint the whole place. And oh, by the way, we're knocking down a couple walls in and around the kitchen also to open it up. So
you should have tried to find one that had all that work already done.
Yep. As a matter of fact, we should have.
I'm such a dick.
Yep. You're surprised to see it. Isn't Molinari Italian? Okay, you're surprised to see the Italian as a vice captain with the Ryder Cup in Italy?
Matt's on hold. We're back in 30.
All right.
Yeah, unfortunately, this Airbnb, I don't think the internet's as strong as we would like. And I have the router like right next to me.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. For the last couple of years, Pro Football Network has been nice enough to be a part of the show darn near every week, to be honest, but certainly during the season. And the guy who founded Pro Football Network is kind enough to join us on the eve of this season kicking off. He is Matt Cannata, 2 N's, 1 T. Follow him on X at Cannata PFN, Cannata PFN. Matt, it's David and Mark. How you been?
David and Mark. I told David Bierman, I said, time for my spot to come back this week to kick off the NFL season. So I kicked him out, and I'm back on today. I miss you guys.
I love it. I love it, Matt. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Well, let's start with the first game. We've been talking about this on and off, David and I, on our show. What happens to Kansas City if Travis Kelce's injured? And here we are heading into week 1. He hyperextends his knee. There's still talk that he might play, but the line moved a 1.5. Just how significant is this injury to you, Matt?
Yeah, so the line did move. The line before Kelce's injury, the spread was cheap. The lines were getting 6.5. The first shift after 0.5 point, and now we're down to, like you said, a whole point as well now as of 3:45 yesterday. And so when you look at the Chiefs roster, right, and you look at their pass catchers, you have to first ask who's going to step up for the Chiefs, and I think that's the biggest question because you have Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who basically he's really not a number one receiver. You have Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, again, not true number one receivers. Travis Kelce, for all intents and purposes, and I'm sorry to those like myself who drafted Kelce in the first round of their fantasy football draft, he is their number one receiver. And to take that big of a presence out of the game, it makes the Lions' game plan so much easier to defend, right? MVS, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, they're not going to change the game. They can be covered one-on-one. They can be covered in zone with corners, and however the Lions want to attack that. With Kelce, you got to double him up, right? You have to watch him at all times, and you have to build your entire game plan around Kelce. You take that chess piece out of it, and it becomes, okay, how do we contain Patrick Mahomes? You know he's going to make some ridiculous throws, even with these receivers. How do we contain him as best as possible? Can we allow, bigger runs to happen and defend the pass more often than not? Because the running back position is just as a little questionable as the receiver. Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Jerick McKinnon, right? It's not world beaters. It's not game changers. And if you take Mahomes out of this offense without Kelsey, the Lions, should take this game easily. Now, that wild card, of course, is Mahomes, so we'll have to see how this kind of plays out. But I'd be very concerned for the Chiefs offense if Kelsey cannot play.
And the Lions were one of the worst teams in the league last year at defending the tight end. And here you were going to put a Hall of Famer up against them, and you figured that Mahomes and Kelsey would just shred them. And Matt, to me, where Kelsey's uncoverable is the red zone. And you would think that maybe with the way the Chiefs moved the ball around, like last year, they did it without Tyreek Hill by spreading it around, a lot of shorter throws, and they actually scored more points than they did with Tyreek Hill. I could see them moving the ball against that Lions defense, but I would think now Detroit's got a chance when they get to the red zone to force field goals.
They 100% have a chance, right? And you're right, they did move the ball up and down, but you have to remember too, all that attention is focused on Kelsey. So when he's running those intermediate routes, when he's clearing up the field for the other receivers, that's a huge factor in that game plan, right? And creating the space for the other receivers to make those plays because they're more one-on-one now. Now, in the red zone, that field shrinks a ton. We all know. And for Kelsey to not be that big target to be there for him, next up on the tight end depth chart is Noah Gray, right? Definitely no Travis Kelsey. For him to not be there, that's going to be a lot harder, right? Again, you can't discount Patrick Mahomes. A great QB is a great QB, but we've also seen, such as Tom Brady, when you don't have the weapons that you usually have, you take a few steps down with that because you can only do so much as one person. So the red zone, if the Chiefs get that far, it will be very interesting to watch with the Lions defense. Again, Travis Kelsey not being able to play, I think, is a huge loss for the Chiefs.
The other side of it's Chris Jones, whether or not, it doesn't look like he's going to play as well. And the Lions and Jared Goff, not very good on the road last year. As good as things were at the end of the season, Jared Goff was not particularly good away from Ford Field. So this gives Detroit, not a huge edge, but maybe an equalizer for as badly as they were on the road a year ago.
Right. And you look at the Lions offense too, right? And you look at the additions that they've made. You have, of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown coming back. The receiver core is basically back. What I'm most interested in is their running backs, right? You have David Montgomery now. So you lost a few last year. You lost DeAndre Swift. You lost Jamal Williams. Now you have Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Gibbs is the most fascinating because all the talk about Gibbs coming out of preseason thus far and training camp has been that they're going to deploy him in ways that no one is really thinking that they are going to deploy him in. And we can see, and we likely will see, Gibbs lining up at the slot position. We can see Gibbs lining up out of the backfield to catch the ball out of the backfield. And then having Montgomery come in as that kind of change of pace back. And I don't think it's going to be necessarily a 1 and a 2, right? I don't think we're going to see Montgomery come out, Gibbs come in. I think we're going to see them both on the field at the same time. And when you can add that other part of the piece to that puzzle, along with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and add that kind of another layer, I think the Chiefs are going to have a little trouble with that. And so that's what I'm most interested to see out of the Detroit offense.
He's Matt Cannata. He founded Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. You can follow him on X. It's Cannata with 2 N's and 1 T, Cannata PFN. Cannata PFN. Follow Pro Football Network on X at PFN 365. All right. And you guys are giving away tickets to the Dolphins home opener. They start the first 2 games on the road. So, it's another reason to go to profootballnetwork.com and you could win Dolphins tickets. We're asking people today to give us one bold pick for the season. That's all. Okay. And like mine is, I have Jacksonville as the 1 seed in the AFC. I think they'll take advantage of the schedule, the whole deal. Well, but they'll do exactly what Tennessee did 2 years ago. Enter the playoffs as the 1 seed. We'll see what happens from there. I'm just curious. Oftentimes your bold picks on our show have dealt with the Dolphins. So I'm just curious, what's your bold Dolphins pick in 2023?
Bold Dolphins pick. My bold Dolphins pick. Can I have the caveat that Tua stays healthy or no?
Sure. Yes. That's bold in and of itself, Matt.
True. That is true. The Dolphins make the AFC Championship game at minimum if Tua stays healthy the whole season. That's my bold prediction.
Whoa! There we go. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're
They have
talking
to,
about.
right? They have to. All the I mean, Mike McDaniel, there's probably not a whole lot of pressure on him. If he makes the playoffs again, that's good. But you built this roster in the sense next year they're in cap. Their cap is crazy over the cap, right? How are they going to field a competitive team? So you're putting all of your eggs in a basket. They got to deal with Tua next offseason. They have to restructure some contracts. They have to take that next step. I think the AFC Championship is the bar. Stephen Ross is not getting any younger. He wants to win, and he wants to get there.
At the expense of who? Is it the Bills or the Jets? When you look at that division, because it is so strong, do you see, it's hard if you watch any four-letter network. I mean, the Jets have already won the Super Bowl, but we're going to have to play a couple of football games first. But do the Bills take a step back in order for that to happen, or do the Jets disappoint?
That's so hard, right? Because I don't have a lot of confidence in Aaron Rodgers finishing the season strong. I think we've seen this play out, right? I think we've seen older QBs switch teams or have new systems or just stay on their current team and just get older and start to decline. Obviously, Tom Brady is the exception, but he is the exception, right? And so I think the Jets are probably going to start off pretty strong. But I think as the wear and tear of the season comes on this team, which has a few older players on offense, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Rodgers, a few key pieces to name a few, I think that wear and tear is going to come down. So I think it's going to come at the expense of the Jets. I think the Bills, Von Miller's out for a few weeks, but they're returning most of their defense on Buffalo's side, and Sean McDermott is calling plays on defense now. I don't think we're going to see a huge step back from Buffalo. I think we're going to see it with the Jets.
You mentioned the Dolphins and the cap struggles they could have next offseason. Well, the Niners already have 9 players on their books scheduled to make over $180 million next year, and that doesn't include Bosa. I mean, they could have 10 players under contract making $210 to $220 million. Right now, the cap's $240 and change. I mean, this seems as if this is the year for the Niners, and then they got to take a step back.
Yeah, and obviously the cap will go up, right? And this year, right now, they have $227,000 of cap space. I mean, how are they going to get that Bosa deal done, right? And next year, they're projected, as of right now, to be $1.1 million under the cap. When you look at their highest earners, and you look at their highest earners going into next year, Trent Williams, Eric Armstead, George Kittle, Fred Warner, Deebo Samuel, Javon Hargrave even. And you look at, what's going to happen. They can't cut these guys. Because if you cut them, they're going to have, some dead money. You can cut a few, but not all of them. And you're trying to create the biggest package for Nick Bosa in NFL history, probably for a defensive player. And you have to kind of look at it also in the sense of how they're building the QB position, right? It's interesting. You have Brock Purdy, who's the last pick of the NFL draft a few years ago, who doesn't have a large contract, who's probably not going to require a large contract. And it looks like they might be trying to build this team where they're putting all their money into the defensive side and letting Kyle Shanahan scheme the offense to the way that he wants it to be with players who aren't as highly paid as the defensive side. So it is interesting. If you're asking me if the 49ers are going to make it, I don't see how they do with Brock Purdy. I know not everyone, but a lot of people were writing Purdy off last year and saying, he can't sustain it, and he ended up sustaining it. It's year 2. Let's see how the defenses react. Let's see how Brock Purdy reacts. I'm just not buying into the hype of Mr. Irrelevant having a Cinderella story and being able to overcome everything the NFL defenses will throw his way this year.
You mentioned the Dolphins are all in. The Bengals are kind of in that same boat. They're going to sign Burrow. The reports are out that Burrow's deal is going to get done by the end of the week, making him the highest paid player in the league. They've already made the comments that they're not going to be able to keep their core with salaries escalating, particularly the receivers. So don't you look at the Bengals similarly as how you look at the Dolphins this year?
Yeah, I think you have to wait till kind of the Joe Burrow contract comes through, right? Over the cap says right now, heading into next year, they're going to have $66-67 million in cap space, but there are some expiring contracts, right? DJ Reader's one of them. You have Jonah Williams expiring as well. Joe Burrow's going to get a massive, massive contract. Right now he's on his rookie deal, so that's going to change a lot once that happens. You have to, look at their core. You brought Joe Mixon back this year. Is he come back next year remains to be seen. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, you're probably going to let Tyler Boyd walk. You look at the defensive side of the ball as well, and you say, can you, they're not world beaters on defense, but they're above average and they're good. They're a good defensive unit. And I don't think you have to say if they don't win it this year, it's the end. But I think once you sign Burrow to that massive extension, you probably have 2 to 3 years max before the big money starts to kick in on the backer end of his contract. So I think the Bengals do have a few more years compared to the Dolphins, who basically this year or next year is their window, and the 49ers as well. So I would say the Bengals have a few more years.
All right, Matt, got a minute or so left here. The Eagles were a 9-8, 7 seed a year ago at this time, even though they acquired A.J. Brown and what have you. Seattle, no one was expecting much from. Is there a team in the NFC that you're looking at and you go, I got a feeling?
Yeah, the Denver Broncos for me. I think Sean Payton's going to make the world of difference there. I think Jerry Jeudy had a really quiet, good season last year. I think Javonte Williams, when he comes back from his injury, is going to be a stud, as he kind of showed flashes of last year. And, Russell Wilson. I don't think the Russell Wilson we saw last year is the Russell Wilson we're going to see this year. I think the Broncos have a huge opportunity to go from worst to first this year. And I'm even in the stacked AFC West, I'm even kind of making that kind of bold prediction as well. I think we're going to see a new Denver Broncos team. I'm really excited to see what they have on the field this coming week.
He's Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. Follow Matt on X at Cannata, 2 N's, 1 T. Cannata PFN. Cannata PFN. Matt, thanks for pinch hitting. We always appreciate you and your network, your contributions to the show. We love your site. Continued success. You guys are killing it. And let's talk again sooner than later.
All right, guys. It was great catching up.
Matt Cannata, who's been with us since the beginning for him and Pro Football Network, which has now become a fairly big deal. Thanks to Matt. Congratulations.
And they keep hiring staff and making that bigger and better. If you've not checked it out, check out profootballnetwork.com. Seth Everett is in the on-deck circle. Bud Elliott after that to talk some college football in the 8 o'clock hour. You're listening to Miller and Moulton. Where else but right here on the Florida Sports Network. Thanks for listening.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody?
You want me to try the mark?
I don't know if we can hear.
No, they were calling you.
What?
Oh, where's David?
David was calling you. He was trying something and you didn't answer. So I don't
Sorry,
know.
I told him to reconnect. Sorry, I was listening to something. He'll be back. If not, we'll do this. We'll do the segment without him.
Oh, fine with me.
How are you, Seth?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good.
School started.
School started 4 weeks ago around here.
I know, not here. Yesterday. And my kid had a delayed opening because they did something for the seniors. So everybody underclass had to go in 2 hours late. Then they had a power failure and an early dismissal. She was in school for about 2.5 hours.
Nothing like the early dismissal.
I was like, that's a great first day.
Daughter's trying out for the school play today.
Oh,
yes.
Break a leg.
I had to tell her there's like 100 kids trying out for 30 spots. And you have to say, I said, do your best.
Yep.
If you make it, be humble. If you don't, let's not worry about it.
Yep. Good luck.
Then I slipped the teacher a 20 and said, hey, is this going to help?
My daughter applied for this internship at the NHL, and I kind of know the commissioner. But they redact the way their form. It's an online form. They redact all the names, so they can't favor anybody. I was like, well, that system stinks.
Worked very hard to get advantages in life for my kids, for crying out loud. Don't you know who I am?
I was like, that stinks. No.
Look at that. Told you.
Oh, I like this. Oh well.
Hi, David. Hello?
Hi.
What's up with the hostage
Hi.
video?
Well, this is routers. It's better, same one.
Right now, worse. Don't know how it can be worse going through the router, but
Well, just from my experience, shut your camera off. The audio should sound better, and that's what you care about.
yep. Just on the bottom there, you might want to hit
How do
stop cam, David. You know where it says mute, stop cam
Where is
settings?
that?
We're coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the 8 o'clock hour. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bud Elliott, Sports, and a few other outlets will join us coming up in about 35 minutes' time. Seth Everett, kind enough to join us once again. He of the two terrific podcasts, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett. Top of the morning to you. Yeah.
X has gone right into your vernacular.
Twitter? Well, I mean, you can't. If they rebranded themselves and they're now calling themselves X, aren't we supposed on X?
I'm with you, Seth. I'll never call it X.
I would say follow him on Twitter or X. Like I would work the word Twitter still in. I don't think anybody knows what you mean when you say X.
Huh.
All you know is that a megalomaniac fool is destroying one of the things that I love the most. And his fight against the Anti-Defamation League is going to be something I'll make popcorn for.
All right, but Seth, I will say, you of all people who say he's ruined it for you. You paid the money for the blue check mark. You have helped him out.
All right, you want to know the truth. You want to know the truth. Something happened in the last couple of months with their algorithm on if you're unverified, only 10% of your followers see your posts. There's a sponsor of Sports with Friends that said you need to be showcasing this podcast. If we're paying for this podcast, we need it showed to the majority of your followers. I said, well, I don't want to give the guy a penny. I think he's a blank fool. And, we can say that. And they paid it. So you're right. I have it. There is the function of the hide blue check. And if I get more than 3 people say something to me, I will hide the blue check. But I didn't pay with my money.
Because I've thought about paying, because apparently I didn't realize this, but TweetDeck, which is if you are using,
you need to pay for
if
that.
you use it, you need that, and it's a nice feature. It's something that makes our lives in the media a little bit easier to use, formerly known as Twitter X. So I have thought about the blue check mark, and then I'm like, you're not that important.
It's not the check mark, because to me the check mark is irrelevant now that any joker can have the check mark. The key to the check mark is now when I tweet something, it actually gets seen by the people who follow me. That was the key, and that was the sponsor's key, and they make a strong point. That's the point. I don't have 20,000 people in Instagram. If I did, then Instagram would be my drug of choice. Twitter is the only thing that I have a real following at, and I need to promote these podcasts because people pay for them.
Of being seen, if you have Spectrum cable, you cannot see ESPN or Disney, ABC, and there are a few important sporting events that are appearing on those networks. The beginning of the college football, the U.S. Open tennis tournament, Monday night. A few people might be interested in the Bills and the Jets, particularly in the New York metropolitan area, of which Spectrum is a significant cable provider. A lot of people believe that this will be a watershed moment one way or the other, either for the 4-letter network or for major cable companies, that we are coming showdown in the next few days. A, do you see it? And B, which way will it go?
Well, the beginning of your question, which I think I heard, the key to this whole thing is there's no side to take, because ESPN or Disney is not saying pay more money. They're just saying pay the money that you were paying, and their subscriber base on Spectrum is declining. The key to the whole thing is going to be ESPN is going to have to make this very user-friendly, and they're not going to get it done by Saturday. What they're argument is going to have to be is that they're going to have to make their direct to consumer. And direct to consumer means you don't need to have a cable password to get ESPN programming. To me, the key is if you're a fan of these teams and you have Alabama, Texas, you have the U.S. Open women's and men's final, and the Bills Jets Monday night game in 4 days, get a free trial to Hulu Live, YouTube TV, Fubo, any of them. They all have it. They all will have the game, and try it. And don't, spend your mortgage on it. All I'm saying is try being a cord cutter. It's an enlightening way to watch once you learn how to do it. And there's a learning curve. I did my cord cutting in 2017. So I've been doing it for years now. And to me, what channel is the game on is it's either this button or this button or this button. That's all. And the whole thing doesn't matter to me. And what I'm saying to fans is don't be the fan that doesn't watch the game because these two billionaires are fighting. Get the alternative and try it and see if you like it.
Well, and there's no doubt, Seth, because I will say it's not hard. And I don't say because I think I'm, on a scale of 1 to 10 technologically, I'm probably a 7. I'm by no means
you're a notch above David here.
Yeah, but my wife is not. My wife is a 3 or a 4. And she has had absolutely, it's been our little joke. It's like, all right, how about you turn the TV on? How about you watch what it is you want to watch and find it? And she's able to. And I think there's a fear factor of so many people that this is cord cutting. Oh no, I don't have the same remote in my hands. It's something different and it's driving people insane. It's not that hard.
Well, and do the math, and all I'm saying is this is a big weekend, right? Whether you like tennis, whether you like college football, whether you like pro football, you like all of these things. It's a big weekend in sports, right? This is a great time of year in sports, and all I would say is don't be left out in the cold and be that angry person that goes, "Well, I can't see any of it because Spectrum won't put ESPN." Try to fix the alternative. It's Wednesday. You have 3 days. You can figure this out. Or 4 days before the women's final. Get the alternatives and just try them. And I do it the way I do with these trials with these apps. I've tried a bunch of apps. The Champions League is going to be on Paramount. I have to get Paramount when the Champions League starts. That's my drug. Like that's what I have to do. But if people want to see these events, you have to be able to see these events.
Have you done the math, by the way? Added it all up? All the stuff that you need and figured out whether or not it's the same, you're paying more, paying less?
Yeah, it's about $75 less.
Cool.
Yeah. It's less. But I a la carte the whole thing, and when I'm not watching something, I drop it, and
well, that's the problem is you have to be a little more diligent about what you're doing to pay attention because for the deal I got, I was able to get a free 4 months of something. It's like, all right, put a little note in my phone. 4 months from now, cut that off because I'm done with it.
Right. I have reminders on my phone. Drop Showtime. Like I have those things. And we had an incident where my kid accidentally pressed a button, and she was trying to watch a movie, and she pressed play, and it launched a trial of something. And what I'd like for Hulu to have is some safeguards so that it can have a little pop-up. Are you sure you want to try this? Because she would have said no. If she saw a strange box, she would have clicked no. So the reality of it is it's a work in progress. Yes. Is it some months I wind up paying more than others? Yeah, I'm about to shell out $9.99 for the Red Zone. You know when I'm going to do it? I'm going to do it Sunday morning.
By the way, as a proud Syracuse alum, how are you about Stanford, Cal, and SMU?
Yeah, it's those road trips in the middle of January to Berkeley are going to be fantastic. Listen,
particularly the other way when Berkeley comes to Syracuse, it should be lovely for them for a volleyball match in February.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do the travel. It makes no sense to me. SMU in the ACC. There's no charm to it, but Hey, listen, it's better than being Oregon State or Washington State.
But for SMU buying their way in, Seth, that does change the game a bit, because it's one thing for Stanford and Cal to get in. They have their merits on academia, and my goodness, they're as good of universities as we have in our country. SMU is not on that same level, and they literally bought their way in, which does set a dangerous precedent of how someone could get into a conference.
But the ACC, does still know that none of those moves changes the way Clemson and Florida State feel. And so they're trying to protect, because one of the things in their television contract is you have to have a minimum number of teams. And if they hadn't done this deal and then Clemson and Florida State found a way to get out of the ACC, then you're under the threshold or whatever it is. And the whole thing is, it's less than. That's the only way to describe it.
But to me, Seth, and I think to Mark as well, the interesting factor here is that North Carolina voted the same way as Florida State and Clemson. Florida State's wearing the black hat and all this, but to us, the heart and soul of this conference is North Carolina. And to me, by them voting no, they're also saying, by the way,
we want out. If Florida State gets out, we're going with them. Yeah,
exactly.
They want. And Duke might want to go out too. Again, they don't have a football program, but they want to go someplace else to play basketball.
I don't know. I don't know if you paid any attention. They just got done whipping Clemson's ass. So
I saw.
Their football program's a little better than Syracuse's.
Listen, my team beat Colgate this weekend. We're going for Aquafresh next weekend. We're going to take on AIM the weekend after. We are going throughout the toothbrush aisle.
Watch out for Pepsodent. Very good defense.
Don't be Sensodyne.
Or Arm and Hammer. Okay. Time now. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. What do you have?
Sports with Friends. A guy by the name of Brian Ruby. He is an independent minor league baseball player. He is the only active, openly gay baseball player in the sport. He also is a country music artist, and he just released a cover of John Fogerty's Center Field. So he's doing music and baseball, and we have a very frank discussion on the state of the community in sports and in baseball, particularly. Brian Ruby. It's a fascinating conversation. Hall of Justice. What did you say?
Hall of Justice?
Oh, Hall of Justice. Well, there's a chance that one person comes through something. It's probably going to be former Marvel editor-in-chief Jim Shooter, who was the editor-in-chief of Marvel during the bankruptcy era. But that's what it's looking like. It'll be out tomorrow.
Okay. There was a big hard sell there from Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett.
The artist formerly known as Twitter.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. There we go. I'm going to email Jeff again today and see where we're at with the Comrex.
Yeah, he's been totally fucking useless for me. Hasn't responded. I've trying to do this. God damn it. Damn it. Can't catch one fucking break.
God, if the Bills could light the Jets up and win like 42-24.
15 seconds.
That would be great.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports, and a few other entities will join us to talk all things college football. Coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. We're asking you whether you text in at 21,000 or you're joining in via our Twitch chat room to give us your bold pick, one bold prediction about the NFL season, which kicks off tomorrow night. My bold pick is Jacksonville to be the 1 seed and to host the AFC Championship game.
Mine is the Cincinnati Bengals will win the Super Bowl. And I know they're one of the teams favored, but they, as David said, they've never done it before.
Right. So that qualifies. I mean, I'm sorry. If you pick the Bills to win the Super Bowl, I'm sorry. How many times have they done that?
That would be 0.
When's the last time they were in the game?
Oh, goodness.
Almost 30 years ago. In fact, this is the 30th anniversary of their last Super Bowl appearance. I mean, just because they're expected to be a very good team, there's a big difference between winning the final game of the year.
I have a quick question for you. It's a little off the beaten path, just because, you know, you've talked about your move and all of that, but you don't have cable. And we just did that whole segment on cutting the cord. Aren't you in a house where the cord has been cut?
Yes. Yeah.
How's that working out for everyone?
I haven't watched a single thing on television. My mother-in-law is able to figure. This place has Roku and the local channels. So I have no idea if she's only watching the local channels. I don't know. I hear the TV on all the time. I know she's watching television. She's got an iPad. She's got a laptop. I mean, I know she's watching stuff. But I put it this way. Daughter got married, and they're honeymooning. And so my wife, grandma, is watching granddaughter for most of the week. And so I was alone. I mean, my mother-in-law has her master room, but the rest of the house was mine. I got a TV in my bedroom. I got a huge TV here in the living room. Yeah, I watched nothing yesterday. I mean, that's not true. I actually did something I hate to do. I was watching television on my phone. And I hate that. Hate it. Mm-hmm. Yep. But, oh no. Mark, I don't even want to grab the clicker. I don't even want to try. I don't care. And my mom, she's like, oh, you got the stick and what have you. No, I'm good. We'll move back in 4 or 5 weeks. I got my clickers. I got my channels. I know exactly where everything is. Yep.
So you are just, in essence, in a boycott of television while you're home over the next month. I mean, you'll see as much. You're gone on the weekends. You're doing football, so it really doesn't matter. You'll be somewhere where you can watch football Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays for the rest of the football season. So it won't affect your viewing, with the exception of maybe tomorrow night.
Yes. Yeah, I may have to go out tomorrow night and watch it somewhere. In fact, there's a very good chance. Well, no, locals, right? I can get it on NBC. But then I'll have to turn the clicker on, and I'll be afraid I'm going to blow up the house. But yes.
We're all here for you, David. I just want you to know at any point, Felipe and I are here for you whenever you need to be walked through the process. Felipe is very good at making videos of how-to videos. A lot of arrows, a lot of circles. So we can get you through this if need be.
No. I'm sure I could go on YouTube and download a video that will take me through this. I'm sure of it. No, I don't want to. I'd rather pay. Everybody going, oh, I'm saving $70 a month. I'm saving $80 a month. I'm saving $100 a month. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I like it all. It's bundled. It's easy. I'll gladly pay an extra $100 a month. I really will. For the rest of my life, actually, I would gladly pay an extra $100 a month.
That
It's
Sunday
really easy.
paper will show up at the door, and damn it, I'll have cable television. I'm going to read the newspaper. I'm going to go to the bank.
I really commend the Apple Genius Bar, Xfinity people, anyone in the technology industry whose job is to assist people who don't understand how simple it is with this, because I get it. It's complicated because it's completely different than what you've always known your entire life. But I promise you, they are trying to make it easier for you.
No. And Felipe, I pay for things. And I tell, like, we just got a brand new air conditioning unit in our condo. And I said to the guy, you need to understand what you're dealing with here. Think air conditioning for dummies. That's the unit I want. I want a thing on the wall in which I have the fewest options possible. I would prefer to only have one option: on, off. Honestly, really, if you could somehow, some way get me a really good unit with that as my main, if not only option, that's really what I would prefer. I know I could connect to the internet. I could monitor it on an app. If the system ever shut down, I could be on the road. Yes, I don't care. That's what you're for. I call you, you come over, you fix it. That's why you should love people like me. I will keep you employed. I'm the people keeping you employed. I'm the service call right here.
And you'd prefer it not to be digital and to have a dial on that air conditioning thing, right?
Well, I mean, I could press a button. Okay. I mean, I can. But, if the AOL sound in the background happened, I'd be fine with it. I'd wait it out. I really would.
Whereas I would be mortified.
Exactly. Right. You'd be horrified. I mean, guys, and make as much fun as you want. You know what I did yesterday? I went to both the bank and the post office yesterday. Yes, that's right. I did. Now, I didn't go in the bank, but I went to the ATM, got money. All right. And yes, I went in the post office. And do you know what I did there, Mark? I bought stamps. Yes, I did.
Now, it's come to the point in our life at my house where I have to go to the post office for my wife because she works more than I do. So the errands are go to the post office and mail it. So I unwillingly have had to go to the post office far more than I would care to. So we're both on that one. But your bold predictions are what we ask for. Your NFL bold predictions, 21,000 is the text line, 21000 for your bold NFL predictions like this one. Arthur Smith wins Coach of the Year.
Wow. And you know what's great? We could now ask a lot of NFL fans who he's the head coach of. And I'll bet you 30% of you get it wrong. I'll bet you have no idea.
Jordan Love throws for 2,500 yards.
A big deal.
I think if you put 3,500 yards in there, it might be a little more bold.
Well, and that's barely 200 a game, but okay.
Okay, 4,000 yards. We'll get him to that.
I'm just waiting for someone to say Brady comes back.
I think that ship has finally sailed. Washington will win the NFC East.
Wow.
That's a bold prediction.
Dead struck here in our Twitch chat room. My bold prediction is the Patriots will not finish last. My question once again is, it just feels to me, Mark, like there are so many quote unquote good teams in the AFC. Doesn't that mean that one of the very good teams gets taken down? Well, the very good teams are Kansas City, Buffalo, and Cincinnati. I mean, isn't at least one of them going to be taken down? In theory, could one of them miss the playoffs if we think 10-win teams are going to miss the playoffs?
Okay, if I were to let you choose one, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Kansas City, one doesn't make the playoffs, where would you go?
Kansas City.
And I'd go Buffalo. If I had to pick one of the three.
Matt and Chris, Mark.
I don't know about that. It's just Von Miller missing 4 games doesn't help, and that division is stacked. Bud Elliott, he's stacked with college football information. He's next on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Hey, bud.
How you guys doing?
Doing great. You?
I'm doing well, man. Finally got some sleep last night, which was good. Got in bed by like 11, so it was good.
Love that the coaches have Clemson 3 spots ahead of Duke.
How many put their votes in on Sunday?
That's what David said.
I joked. I said, how many of them sent them in Monday afternoon?
They're so lazy.
Yeah. 100%.
How about Florida State looking like Florida State? As a Bud Elliott that I know likes to say, they got some dudes.
They do got some dudes. I mean, even if you thought LSU was like a better team, I think matchups matter. Like that was a distinctly bad matchup for them.
Well, I was picking LSU in my mind all spring and summer, just thinking, 2 really good programs go head to head, they'll split. But every time Brian Kelly for 2 weeks walked up to the microphone, he kept announcing that another key guy was out. And I kept thinking, well, these are good, impactful players. And meanwhile, Florida State's got everybody.
Yeah.
So that's why ultimately I went with Florida State. I just thought, LSU's going to miss a few guys in this game.
They, when I saw Harris was like buried on the depth chart because he just continues to act like a dumbass, I was like, yeah, that's a problem. Like, what are the odds? because their number 2 corner they took out of the portal had like a broken leg thing. Like, what are the odds the 3rd and 4th corner they took out of the portal, who are both starting, could cover Keon and Johnny? I mean, on that night, 0% chance, right? But like, they had guys open every play. I was like, if they just settle down and don't allow 600 yards to Jaden Daniels, they're going to win this game. But yeah, that was the matchups matter.
They took over the line of scrimmage in the second half, both sides of the ball. I mean, they were able to run the ball in the second half, and not, because LSU couldn't run it unless it was quarterback.
I mean, look, LSU did a great job of handling, I think, FSU's 2 best defensive linemen, right? Fisk and Verse were not super loud in that game, and that left side of LSU's offensive line is damn good. Like, those guys that's a really, the Dellinger kid and the left tackle Campbell are probably both like high draft picks, I would assume. But the other side, like, yeah, they found a nice little matchup there. It was good. Like, and Norvell's very comfortable in these shootout type games. Like, I think I joked on Nolecast, it's like he's like a dude, when you're playing dealer's choice and he gets the button and he's like just some crazy ass Omaha game, right? It's his choice. It's like, he just feels comfort in the chaos. I don't think he loves these like super low scoring games. The other thing was I know we'll talk about it on the show, but like, they're very experienced and they didn't make a ton of mental errors. Like, generally when they were getting beat, it was like, oh, Daniels is really fast, right? Or Neighbors is a first rounder. And I think they would accept that. Just if you're not giving up the wide open stuff because you're busting coverages.
30 seconds.
I didn't have a problem with Brian Kelly post game, but
No.
I'm into the truth. A lot of people can't handle the truth.
He and Sonny Dykes, by the way. I don't know if you watched Sonny's press conference. I think he's got some, shall we say, knuckleheads on that roster that he's a little bit like you can see he's already tired of. He's talking about like how our real number 1 receiver is Jack Besh, like the hybrid tight end from LSU. Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, and on a hump day, that means Bud Elliott. Let's see, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports HQ, the Cover 3 podcast, the Nolecast. Follow him on Twitter, Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, 3. Bud Elliott, the number 3. I said Twitter, I meant X. Bud, how the heck are you?
I'm doing well, guys. How y'all been?
Well, since we last spoke, a lot has happened. Let's get to it. We'll go far back, work our way forward. So your thoughts, Stanford, Cal, SMU, the future of the ACC?
I think it probably helps the smaller schools in the ACC to maintain a conference in the long term. It probably doesn't lock in Florida State and Clemson, North Carolina for the long term, but it might keep them a little bit quieter for maybe a year or two longer than they otherwise would have been if they're able to get some of that performance-based money. I don't think it's a game-changing move. It does give the conference more of those late-night TV slots, which are valuable, right? And I think you'll see how often are Stanford and Cal going to be on the road in the same week? I would say very rarely, right? It's always going to be like you're going to watch like Cal and you're going to watch Stanford like it's the Braves in the 90s because they're always going to be using that West Coast time slot on ACC Network or ESPN2 or maybe an ABC, depending on who they send out there. But I mean, if you get like Carolina at Cal, Florida State at Stanford, Clemson at Cal, Miami at Stanford every single year, those are big enough names that people will watch those in a late night TV slot, right? And I think those games could do fairly well relative to the cost of acquiring those teams. And for SMU, it's free, right? So, and that gets you into the Central Time Zone a little more. So, yeah, I don't think it's a great move, but I don't think it's like a terrible move for the league, I guess. And I'm with you. Our fascinating part is that North Carolina is the one that was holding the ACC. We thought together, but they were the other no vote. We all knew that Florida State and Clemson were the no votes. When it came down to it, North Carolina was in the same bed with Florida State and Clemson. And I'm just curious how well that sits on Tobacco Road because they are the ACC.
Probably not well, but look, eventually I think it's going to go to a little bit more eat what you kill model. I think Florida State would have voted yes for this if they had got more concessions in terms of how the extra revenue was going to be distributed. If you're FSU, obviously you're feeling pretty good about your program right now, but you always feel good about your TV ratings. Even like a 5-7 FSU is the top rated TV program in this league and has been for about a quarter century. So they would like it tied more to the ratings generated every year.
Do you think Florida State being Florida State again, which we now think they are after what they did to LSU, does that help, hurt, or make no difference as to their conference future?
I really think it can only help because you become more indispensable to the ACC, and if you're the SEC, I think from a ratings, if you're like the other schools in the SEC, you may not want that because if you're like, let's say, a bottom 10 school in the SEC, that's an extra loss or extra likely loss for you when you play them. But if you are the people who run the SEC, who are named ESPN, you probably like it long term. If you can find a way to do it because of the whole the contract thing, they have the ACC at a really, really favorable number relative to ESPN.
Since we're talking Florida State, what impressed you the most? There are so many things you could pick from their win against LSU, but you cover the Noles pretty intensely. And what was it walking away from that game that impressed you the most about what they did?
They just had guys open on every single play. It was the matchup that I think that we did circle last Wednesday. Can LSU cover Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson? And I don't know who said hope is not a plan, but that's basically what LSU had to do. Like eventually they had to double Keon Coleman and hope that Johnny Wilson dropped the ball. And he did. He had 2 crucial drops. He also had 7 catches for 102 and 2 pass interferences drawn. Like if your number 2 is doing that when he's soloed up, they're going to be a very difficult team. Now, granted, LSU secondary is not great. They'll face better teams, potentially in ACC or in the playoff. Like a Michigan or a Georgia would play them differently, right, than LSU could. And so that would be a new challenge. But the receiver position is what we thought it was. And I thought Jordan Travis slid around in the pocket really well, too, at times buying some time. Like the pass pro was good enough. And his lateral movement in the pocket was really pretty special because almost all these throws were wide open. Right, because like LSU just could not cover these guys, even when they weren't scoring.
Are they back?
Yeah, I think so. Because of like, look at the snap counts. They played a lot of guys. Like, there's this narrative out there that this is a kind of like they've built a team and not a program. And certainly, I don't think next year's team will be as good as this year's team because they do lose some special guys, but they played a lot of that depth in that game, like more than I expected them to. So I think to be back, you have to be a team that is contending to make the playoff pretty consistently.
He's Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports HQ, the Cover 3 podcast, Nolecast. Follow him on X at Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's. Bud Elliott, the number 3, Bud Elliott 3.
If they're back, where is Clemson heading? This is now 3 losses in 4 games. They did not look particularly good in the game against Duke. Their quarterback play was substandard from what everybody thought it was going to be. So if Florida State's back, where is Clemson going?
To that like 10 to 20 range, I think. Look, Clemson's still a good team. Clemson outgained Duke by a pretty good bit, and they had some crazy turnovers. If you play that game again, I know they lost by 21. I'm picking Clemson. I'm not picking Clemson to win by a bunch.
Well, but Mark, didn't you have the stat yesterday? Clemson was at 38-0, 58-0, something.
No, when they've rushed for 200 and threw for 200.
Which, I mean, look, they're still a damn good football team. They could beat Florida State in 3 weeks. I don't think they will, but they certainly have enough talent potentially to do so. It was the first game in a new offense. I didn't think Klubnik played that poorly. I do think that Clemson is handicapping itself by refusing to use the transfer portal. Okay. I think if you want to build championship teams, especially like a program that contends for it annually, you need to do that through high school because the very best players in the sport, for the most part, are signed out of high school and never transfer because they hit early and then the schools pay them to stay where they are and they're happy. But every school is going to miss on some players. Okay. It's very rare that an elite team doesn't have any holes. Last year, Georgia took 0 players from the transfer portal. You know what? They were justified in doing so. That was a pretty damn good Georgia team. Everybody on that roster got drafted basically. But this year they took 4 because Georgia knew they had misses in the transfer portal. Now, Clemson sits there and takes 0. I guess they took one guy who's going to be like a GA when he's retired. It's like a charity take. You can't tell me that Clemson couldn't use Dom Lovett or Keon Coleman or any of these like 5 to 10 really good receivers that were in the transfer portal. Clemson's got a 2 playing number 1, and they got a 3 playing 2. Like they don't scare people right now. Duke played man on them, and Clemson and Duke or Florida State and Duke run about the same defense. They're off the same schematic tree with Elko and Fuller. So that's kind of a preview of what FSU's going to try to do to them. By the way, like they're going to say we're going to man you up like Duke did. That Duke should not man up Clemson. That is like a clear, just blinding flash to the obvious for me.
How about Colorado? Where did you think they were roster-wise going into that game? TCU ranked 17th, whether they should have been or not. But just, there were some in your industry who thought Colorado had as bad a roster in Power 5 as you could have. Tell you what, the quarterback and wide receiver looked pretty good.
Yeah, I'm friendly with Tom Luganville. He's always been really good to me at all the camp stuff, and I thought that take was kind of nuts, to be honest. I had moved Colorado from like a -25 to like a -5, which is more like a 65th, 70th rated team in the country, right? Like if they stayed really, really healthy, and got some great breaks, maybe they could make a bowl. And I think they're better than that. I think they're more in that like probably 50 to 60 range. The offense looked legitimately good. They're really well coached on offense with Sean Lewis. I thought Shedeur played better than I ever saw him play at Jackson State, honestly. Like the quickness with which he got through his reads, that was really impressive. He layered the ball pretty well, pretty accurate on stuff. Defensively, if you have 0 tackles for loss in 80 snaps faced, you're going to have some problems. And I do think that TCU has some problems that will probably show their heads down the line. And there will be some games where Colorado gives up 50 plus, maybe multiple times in conference play. And they're probably not going to be able to drop 50 plus, but they're probably like a touchdown better than I thought they were on like a power rating standpoint, mostly because of the offense. And they used Hunter on offense like a lot. Can he play 129 snaps at altitude every week? I kind of doubt that, but for that game, that was really impressive.
All right, let's advance to this week and look at a couple of the games, because the SEC, obviously with LSU losing, with South Carolina losing North Carolina, this is a big weekend. Alabama and Texas, and last year Texas had them before Ewers gets hurt. That was a game that I think we all thought Texas was that had a really good shot at winning before Ewers was hurt. How do you see it this year?
So I thought both of these offenses in the opening week were like a little bit less crisp than I hoped. Bama is a little more understandable because it's a new quarterback. I thought Texas did not appear to be hitting on all cylinders. And who knows? Sark is such a good game planner that there's a non-zero chance that maybe they just repped Bama for like 3 weeks in camp, and that they come out there and they find matchups. And he obviously knows how that Nick Saban defense works because he's been on that staff, for a number of years. And I think the most recently in like 2020 when they won the title with Mac Jones. I do think that Bama, if Key and Malachi are healthy, the 2 DBs who went down against Middle Tennessee, I think Bama's got the best defense in the country. Just from I know they lost Will Anderson, I know they lost some key guys. I think the Lawson kid is probably the first difference maker they've had at linebacker, like off-ball backer in a couple of years. I think the down guys are really good. The pass rusher with Braswell and Turner, and I think they're deep as hell in the secondary. So Bama may be able to suffocate them some, and it's going to come down to, can Bama push around Texas? Because if they avoid getting behind the sticks, having too many passing downs for Milroe, then I think they're okay. If Milroe's got to throw them out of this, then I think Texas has a pretty good chance to pull the upset. I would have picked Texas. I just wanted to see more in week 1, and maybe they're just playing possum. It's possible. Like they didn't run a lot of different stuff.
Big game for both programs, A&M, Miami, and another SEC ACC matchup. Your thoughts?
So I thought Miami's offensive line did look improved. They were physical. That's a pretty decent defense, actually, for Miami of Ohio, by Mac standards. I mean, I'm not trying to blow smoke here. Passing game wise, I didn't see it, honestly. Like, I don't think Van Dyke sees the field well. I don't think he processes stuff, and I mean, a couple times like they formation Miami, Ohio into stuff where I'm like, oh, this is an easy touchdown, right? They got Restrepo, who's a pretty slippery slot guy, clearly on a backer here, and Van Dyke just didn't see it. Like, do you understand the point of the motion? Right? Like, we're motioning to see if we can get this matchup, find the duck, throw it, and he just kind of didn't see it. So I'm kind of curious. There's almost no way it's predetermined, right? And last year he didn't see it very well either. SMU, when Lashley was there as the OC for Miami, he's now at SMU. They have a reputation of figuring out what the opponent is doing and then being able, like, do the check with me on the sideline. Like, that SMU staff has a really, really good knack for that, if you guys catch my drift. And I don't know how well Van Dyke operates outside of that structure. I think Miami's front seven is really damn good, and it'll be a challenge for A&M to block them. If they get them blocked, A&M will score, because A&M's receivers are some of the best in the country, I think. Stewart looks great. They have 2 or 3 guys who would be the best receiver on Miami.
We got less than a minute here. Tulane and Ole Miss, Bud. Is that number way off to you? It's 7.5. That seems high to me.
Ole Miss has a couple key guys out. So the receiver they took from UTSA still hasn't practiced. Pre-scoring the tight end from Memphis, who everybody thought was probably the best tight end in the portal, is going to be out a couple more weeks. And they have a linebacker who had a little arrest incident, which, we don't need to talk about on the air, but they got some guys out. Tulane is super experienced both lines of scrimmage, and they have the quarterback in Michael Pratt, who a lot of coaches wanted to get. So Ole Miss will have to go out and earn it. I don't think Tulane will just give it to them.
Ole Miss 7.5 point favorite, depending on where you look. He's Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports HQ, Cover 3, Nolecast. Follow him on X at Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3, Bud Elliott 3. Bud, as always, appreciate it. Continued success, and really starts to heat up after this weekend. Thanks.
It does. See you guys. Be well.
Bud Elliott, who said he got a good night's sleep last night. First time in a while. He's raring to go. If you can watch on Twitch, he's wearing his Rays cap. He's still keeping the faith they can chase down the Orioles. I don't know, Bud. I don't know.
I'll see you guys.
Great talking college football with Bud Elliott.
4 in the loss column. That's going to be tough to overcome. I mean, they damn near have to sweep them in that 4-game set, which we've talked about earlier.
So he likes A&M against Miami, Bama close. It's funny, he didn't pick it, but he kind of laid out the scenario for a Tulane upset at home against Ole Miss.
7.5 is a lot of points.
On the road. Yeah. How many times does Ole Miss go on the road and beat a ranked team by more than 7? Not very often, right? Thanks for listening along the network. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits the 239.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. When did Herb Street let that one go?
On McAfee's show yesterday. Now, I mean, that is the reason, though, that Herb Street moved out of Columbus.
Oh, I know.
But so that's also a little angst for him to get back at them. Adam, you guys, even at Florida, I don't think you can afford to run them out of town for a little bit. I believe the buyout's over $50 million after this year. Plus, since the current AD is the one that hired him and gave him the contract, so then you'd have to replace him in all likelihood.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks so much for being with us, Miller and Moulton. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Miss any part of the show, like Matt Cannata on air too. And if you're just joining us, we're on 6 to 9 along the network in 3 other markets besides Southwest Florida. Matt Cannata in our 7 o'clock hour, Bud Elliott, Seth Everett in our 8 o'clock hour. On Wednesdays, that's our Wednesday lineup, Pro Football Network, Seth and Bud. And for the most part, just the two of us during the bonus hour, but we will work in some guests as the season allows. On the eve of the NFL season kicking off, Mark.
It's Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, all rolled into one for many of us, David.
Asking for your bold prediction. Give us the one that you would consider bold thing that you believe will happen this year in the NFL.
Like this texter who says San Francisco does not make the playoffs.
That would qualify as bold.
In the NFC, that would.
Considering they've gone to back-to-back NFC championship games, right? 3 of the last 4 years, in fact, they've been in the NFC championship game. So, yes, not making the playoffs, that would qualify. Especially in the NFC. So you could see something like that happening in the AFC, where an 11, 12, 13 win team from a year ago, hell, 10-7. Mark went through his picks. He'll make them official on Friday. You've got what? 2 10-7 teams missing the playoffs.
I do. And I just don't think that that's a huge stretch given how deep the AFC is. And with some teams' crossover schedules, the opportunity for a lot of wins are there. It's while David's bold prediction was Jacksonville will be the 1 seed. Not saying that Jacksonville's the best team in the AFC.
No, I don't think they are. But I think they might ham and egg this season. They get San Francisco, Cincinnati, Kansas City, all at home. And when they play Buffalo, they play them in London. So think about that. 4 first-place teams on your schedule, none of them a road game. Wow. 3 of them at home. And then you play in maybe the weakest division in the league. So, let's just say they go 2-2 against the first-place teams, 5-1 in the division. Now they're 7-3. Okay. How many other teams, by the way, playing their division games and playing 4 first-place teams are going to be 7-3 or better? So
you actually have a couple of bold predictions because I think you've alluded to the fact that you're taking the Steelers to win the AFC North this year.
If that qualifies as bold.
I think that's pretty bold.
I am going to take the Steelers in a tiebreaker in that division.
Doesn't matter. That's a bold prediction.
Yeah. They won 9 games last year. Nobody's talking about it. They're actually their defense is top 5 in the league, and they've got 2 terrific wide receivers, 2 dangerous tight ends. They're deep at running back, and they have so many offensive linemen now that they actually traded 2 away to get down to 53. I mean, if Kenny Pickett's got a pulse, which I think he does, then I think Pittsburgh wins 11-plus games. I really do. They're going to beat San Francisco week 1, by the way. Week 1 last year, you know who they beat? Cincinnati on the road. Week 1 in 2021, you know who they beat on the road? Buffalo. They get San Francisco at home with everything going on with the Niners. I'm not making it my right. I'm just telling you, Steelers are beating the Niners week 1. I'm on that train before it leaves the station.
Guessing we're going to hear that again, given the fact that San Francisco is a 2.5-point favorite.
Mm-hmm. There are a few games, actually. I might be able to do a Super 7 just on locks, I think, this week.
Yeah, you should. You know what? You should make it a nifty 9 because 7 went so well for you last week, just like 5 went well for me. Love that in week 2 you're ready to. I can make 7 picks off the NFL. It's how easy this is. They're all right there.
I do think there are a handful that it seemed pretty obvious to me. But then again, that's why the casinos keep getting bigger. I mean, why is the Jacksonville number as low as it is? Got to be honest, I don't quite understand that. I mean, what are they, 5?
5.
5 at Indianapolis, right?
Correct.
Right. It's not Andrew Luck. It's not Peyton, right? I mean, they're getting the Anthony Richardson Colts, right?
They are.
It's 5. 5. Okay.
Dolphins are a 3-point dog for what it's worth. The Bucks are a 6-point dog.
By the way, what's the Washington-Arizona line?
7.
Okay.
That's Sam Howell you'd be laying a touchdown with. I mean, at the end of the
Well,
day.
I understand, and they play it conservatively, and I think their number one wideout might miss the game with a toe injury. There's a chance that they don't cover that game. There is. But I'm also thinking in terms of, this is all right. We've got some used to call it the suicide pool. Okay. But now these times we've changed it. But, it's your guarantee every week. Well, how many people are going to take Washington? Because also in a lot of these pools, you can only use, the same team once. But what are the Ravens? The Ravens have what? The Texans?
Yeah, they're a 10-point favorite.
Right. The biggest number on the board, right?
It is.
So, but you may want to use the Ravens, I don't know, some other time. But Jacksonville and Indiana.
I don't play that game. I don't play this hold'em. I play you pick the team you think's going to win. Worry about who's left later.
So yeah, there are a few. And yes, I like Pittsburgh at home against the Niners. I like them a lot.
I'm actually surprised that the Bills are favored on Monday night. And I know we have plenty of time to talk about that, but they're on the road. No Von Miller. And I don't know if you've heard, but the Jets have the greatest defense that's ever going to play football.
Who on their team said that they're going to be as good as the 85 Bears? Not Sauce.
No.
But somebody on the Jets said that they're going to be the 85 Bears. That's how good they're going to be. Mark, you know how about a month ago you proclaimed, I'm already sick and tired of the Jets. I hope they go 7-10. All right. And you started wishing bad things because of all the hype surrounding the Jets.
Reed, who said it, by the way.
I will say this is the very first time in which something has happened with the Jets in which I thought to myself, boy, I'd love for Josh Allen to put about 38 on the board week 1. All right. Just so we could, let's stop this train right now. I mean, can you guys do something before we start going crazy? Okay? I mean, Tom Brady and the Bucs were not talking 3 years ago. Even though I'll bet the Bucs were quietly saying, "Oh my goodness, we've got Tom Brady and we've had a lot of talent before him. We could be really good." But they kept it all on the inside. And by the way,
Bowles,
that
speaking of which, just had a sit down with Rick Stroud of the Tampa Times and kind of really trying to move as far away from last year as is humanly possible.
well, they have with their roster construction. I mean, all those rookies,
Lots of new coaches,
and coaches. You know, his offense coordinator, he had no relationship with. That's a brand new hire. I give Todd Bowles a lot of credit. This is probably his last head coaching job. You know, he'd been interim head coaches for a few games in a couple of places. He had got the 4-year run with the Jets. He only got good quarterback play one of those years. He won 10 games with maybe the best year of Ryan Fitzpatrick's career. Otherwise, he had losing seasons. Now, here he is, okay, year 2, and clearly he was coaching Bruce Arians' team with Bruce Arians' staff last year. And at this stage of his career, for him to go hire an offensive coordinator that basically he had no relationship with, okay, that's that. But he said, we did the interviews, and every time I kept coming back to this guy, and he really impressed me. Cool. You know, you and I are not in the retread game. You know, we like people who are willing to actually go, you know, wow, take a look at this resume. What do you know about him? I don't know anything. Huh, looks impressive, though. Why don't we bring him in and talk to him?
And Bowles talked about, you know, the one thing he did learn from Arians, you've got to let your coaches coach. He said, I'm not an offensive coordinator. I'm not. Do I understand protections? Yes. Do I understand schemes? Yes. But I understand it from a defensive standpoint. My job is to let coaches coach. Haven't seen a lot of bold predictions on the Bucs today.
No, they have done a very good job of just going about their business and letting people say, you guys are going to be bad. I mean, you're going to like maybe finish last in the worst division in the league. That's how bad you guys are going to be. And they have just kept their mouths shut and just gone to work. You know, listen, if this is Todd Bowles' last, and I don't mean year, if this is his last head coaching job, don't you think this is Baker Mayfield's last shot to be a starter in this league?
Absolutely.
And I will say, you think about it, if you felt your career was on the line going to work every day, how good would you perform?
And we'll see if he can find a connection early with Mike Evans, because that would be big for Baker Mayfield to get that type of trust from his number one receiver.
Well, unlike the Brady-Evans relationship last year, Baker's going to throw to him. In fact, I think Baker may force the ball to Mike Evans. He's going to love him so much.
Wouldn't you?
Yes.
Miller and Moulton, the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason Todd at the Diamond District. Thanks so much for listening right here to the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437 0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
It's a hell of a headline. 70-foot yacht carrying guns, drugs, and prostitutes discovered in Nantucket Harbor.
Sounds like a party to me.
Got anything here?
No. And I'm looking. I think we can just rehash a little bit too.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when, along with some final thoughts coming up in roughly 20 minutes on the Diamond District bonus hour. Support Todd and Jason, the good folks at the Diamond District. Get great diamonds and a great price and great service because it's their life. Well, it was their life. Now it's just their career. They're both well-rounded guys. But, I mean, we were there when they started. And, you know, it was their life for a long time. Get this sucker off the ground and thriving the way they did. Went out on their own. Took a lot of guts to do what they did. They made it work in a big way.
I'm guessing Jason was listening to the Bud Elliott segment.
I am too.
He'll be listening to the Lee Sterling segment on Friday. And if not, he's looking for a text from me on what Lee had to say.
Yeah. It's funny how that works. Yep. Mm-hmm. Are you watching Hard Knocks at all? Or did you get rid of HBO?
I just re-upped my HBO. That was the freebie I got with YouTube TV. So I watched the one episode basically because you told me to for the Sopranos remix, if you will.
Yeah, Salah driving to work.
There.
Right.
It was cute.
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, it was creative.
I don't need I really don't need any more Jets coverage. I feel as if I'm getting enough everywhere you turn.
Little behind the curtain. Mark, where he's broadcasting from, the TV's on, and I don't think they changed the channel. Okay, so it's basically on the 4-letter network. Occasionally it's on the 4-letter network too, right?
Well, I mean, I can control it because we have YouTube TV here in the studio, David.
Gotcha. Well, it's a good thing you could change it because I would just end up watching whatever was on. So
here's the problem, David. You couldn't, because when you turn it on with something like that, you actually have to get yourself somewhere. When you turn the TV on, nothing's on.
Oh, damn. Well,
it's a home screen.
Right.
Huh. Is there anything on the home screen? Anything interesting?
A lot like your phone, a lot of apps.
Right, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
you're not watching channels anymore. You're just watching an app.
Smartphone meet smart TV.
Interesting. Okay, well, I can click on an app. So eventually I did have something on. You know, who knows, Weather Channel, whatever. So anyway, Mark will look up at various points in time. And he will say to me, usually during the break, but occasionally we're doing a segment and he will text me and he will go, hey, guess what they're talking about now on ESPN? And sometimes he mentions the show specifically. So I will look at how many minutes after the hour it is because I know how they stack shows and what it is they want to talk about. And now I've realized that every single time he asks that question or he texts me that question, it's because they're talking about the Jets.
Like now, for instance, for the second consecutive segment.
It's nearing Lakers level of coverage right
now.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, I'm talking, how does this affect LeBron's legacy type coverage with the Jets?
In fact, I don't know how they haven't made that comparison yet. If the Jets win the Super Bowl, what does this do to LeBron's legacy?
I just thought they would replace LeBron with Aaron Rodgers. Okay, but okay.
Is Aaron Rodgers the LeBron James of the NFL? Whole segment coming up next on First Take.
So I saw a clip. Sorry to do this to you, but apparently it was on that Hard Knocks show, which this year featured the team you don't want to hear any more about. And Salah said to his team, do you know what's the thing I hate more than anything in the world? Okay. I hate being on the unsuccessful team. All right. And having to walk to midfield and shake hands with the coach of the successful team and have the coach tell me, man, your guys play hard. He goes, that's the worst thing in the world. Okay. Because I'm not interested in us playing hard. I'm interested in destroying them. That's it. That's it. Basically, he said, I'm into world domination. And so he looked at his team and basically was like, I don't want any more of those handshakes. Got it? And I wonder how many coaches could relate to that. Because, I mean, what do you say? I don't even know when do you remember the whole head coaches shaking after the game thing started? Because my earliest days, teams walked off the field.
They just walked off the field. The 70s and 80s, they walked off the field.
Now, I know because it was a big deal with Buddy Ryan. He became head coach of the Eagles. And by then, in the mid-'80s, I guess, coaches started shaking hands after the game because Buddy didn't. Buddy ran off the field, and other coaches were bothered, especially in the NFC East at the time. You had Landry, Gibbs, and Parcells. And they were kind of like, what the heck? I can't get a handshake after the game. Buddy didn't shake anybody's hand. Buddy ran in the locker room. He was consistent.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, David, but was the coach handshake thing something that was designated for pregame rather than postgame? Or it didn't even happen pregame?
Well,
that's always, to me, been more of a Saturday thing, Felipe, because they're out there for so long and you always get the shot of the two coaches. But yeah, it's now a pre and post thing, apparently.
So I could see other coaches going, yeah, come to think of it when, I congratulate the other guys, team. Sorry, hey, tough one, but, your guys played hard. I could see where after a while you'd be like, hey, do me a favor. Just tell me we suck. I'd feel better.
Wouldn't that be great? Coach say, hey, congratulations. Yeah, your quarterback stunk today. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.
Maybe that's how you should treat the Sean McVay this year. You just walk over to him and go, man, Sean, you guys suck. All right. But you got a great house and a gorgeous fiance, and just keep wearing that ring. Hey, Sean, tough one today. Why'd you turn down Fox again? No, I'm sorry. We'll see you later.
You really thought running that defense against us was going to work?
I just want to walk up to Sean McVay, shake his hand, and be like, dude, you came back for this? Man.
So we are advocating more coach trash talk here. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, come on. If coaches can't be honest with each other, I mean, who can? Miller and Moulton are pretty honest with each other, actually. We've never told the other, man, you're don't worry, you're playing hard. No, actually. No, Miller and Moulton have had no problem telling Miller or Moulton, hey, get your head out of here. Be better.
Pay attention.
Yeah. Dude, if you do that again, we're going to have real issues. Yeah. Maybe that's why I like the Brian Kelly post game so much. I like the truth. I really do.
It was a 100% failure on all parts, playing and coaching.
Yes. As a matter of fact, you're right. Could you imagine if Norvell ran out and shook Brian's hand and said, hey, tough one. Guys played hard, though. And BK would be like, shut up.
What does Bill Belichick trash talk sound like?
I don't even think he says anything. I think Bill's is just more of a.
Don't you think he grunts?
Yeah,
it's a grunt.
On to San Francisco next week.
Yep. It would be funny if an opposing coach shook his hand and said, on to Cincinnati. Now, that would be funny.
Telling him where he's going next.
I would like to think even Bill would appreciate that, jogging into the sideline.
Right.
That's funny. It's a good one.
Depends on the outcome. I don't think Bill appreciates anything after a loss. particularly walking to midfield to have to shake another coach's hand. I think Bill would be the one that'd be like Buddy Ryan and actually run off the field if he could. I think he would end that whole thing. Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when what's on tap. It's how we finish things out today and every day during the bonus hour from the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So I'm all caught up on Winning Time, the series on HBO Max or Max.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to try to let my NBA bias stray away from this statement. But I think it's one of the greatest television series I've ever seen in my entire life.
Then you've not watched enough television.
It is so good. Oh my goodness. The last episode
and it may be over.
I know, because not enough people are watching it, and it's a shame.
Hey,
it's incredibly directed, incredibly written. The actors are amazing, and this last episode tackles the point in time where Magic says, "I want to trade," and they fire Westhead and promote Riley. And my God, what an incredible episode of television.
I think it's your NBA bias.
No, it's
there's
so good.
Put it this way. There's nobody, and I mean nobody, not sports people, not TV people, not anybody talking about this show.
I hope that changes.
I don't think it will.
I wish I could make that change.
I don't think it will. For what it's worth, I've heard people say it's good. I just don't think it's a subject matter that people feel this overwhelming need to revisit.
Right, because the Lakers are already shoved down people's throats. So it's like, is this just another
Well,
excuse of
also, I mean, that's 40 years ago. I mean, that incident that you described was 40 years ago. You know, now you're into it because you love all things hoop, and you're also learning things as you're watching that show. So, you know, I mean, Mark has referenced many times, Felipe, just during your time on this show, that Magic got coaches fired. I mean, Magic got Westhead fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm just saying the way that they portray the entire story
Right.
is
Well, and that's the other
is
part
done
too,
as good as it
the other part that's come out is that they basically took creative liberties, and it's not the truth.
Well,
They took
That's
some, yes.
That's
Yes.
the other part of this, is that it's
right. And there's a disclaimer that says that before
I
each
got you,
episode.
but when you're watching a biopic that the guy who wrote the biography basically has questioned the story they're doing, you lose a lot there.
But here's the thing: it's directed by the same guy that made Vice.
No,
And
no,
Vice
no, Felipe,
phenomenal movie.
Felipe, it's good television. It is. It's entertaining. But as Mark pointed out, it's not like it's a documentary. Not everything in this is the truth. They exaggerated some things for dramatic effect. But I think also it's the subject matter. I mean, it's not like we're you know why not winning time. You know why during the pandemic when they aired the Bulls
Last Dance.
documentary?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, quite frankly, the Bulls haven't been a really big deal in 20 years. And I mean, Felipe, Miller and Moulton lived during the Bulls time, and we watched that and learned a lot. Saw a lot of stuff that we had never seen before.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
A home stretch of Miller and Moulton on this hump day and the final segment of the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks for being with us. JP Shadrick to talk. He broadcast Dion, that's Coach Prime, upset of TCU. And he's part of the Jags radio network. He will join us tomorrow, as will Roy Cummings, who covers the Bucks. So more football talk, Mark, tomorrow, considering the NFL season kicks off tomorrow. Thought that might interest a few people.
Another Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of football coming, David, because there's even a few college games on Friday again. Nothing that great. There's enough there. There's enough there.
There's, Mark, every wing in your basket, you know how sometimes, whether you order however many wings you order, there's always one or two in which you go, wow, really? This has to count as a wing? I mean, come on, really? Look how little meat's on this wing. Really? This counts? All right. But sometimes, Mark, you get that basket of 10, 12, whatever, and you look at all of them and you go, now that's a basket of wings right there. Now we're talking.
Wings are delicious. They really are.
Sorry.
They're rated perfectly. They're not underrated. They're not overrated. They're just perfect.
Sorry to do that to you with 20 minutes left in the show. I know you're hungry.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm actually, I've got the day to my side. I had a busy day yesterday. I'm actually going home, firing up the smoker and cooking ribs for dinner tonight. So you don't even have to, that doesn't even faze me today.
Wow.
It's one of the last nights you get to spend with your family, I mean, football season is in full force now.
Well, see, my wife watches. It's the daughter where the problem is, because
Right.
my wife's fired up for Steeler football. She's ready to go. So it's just getting the daughter excited about it. And that's a little tougher because, well, She knows that Dad watches a lot of football, and that's not her favorite time of the year. So we'll see if we can sway her this year.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1916 we start today, David. The first true supermarket, the Piggly Wiggly, is opened in Memphis, Tennessee. 1920, Jack Dempsey KOs Billy Miskey in 3. That's not really the story. It was the first radio broadcast of a prize fight. 1939, the first German air attack on Great Britain in World War II. 1946, the All-American Football Conference begins regular season play as the Cleveland Browns beat the Miami Seahawks 44-0 in front of 60,000 at Cleveland's Municipal Stadium. Today in 1968, Eric Clapton records the guitar tracks for George Harrison's While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Then he probably left with Harrison's wife, but that's another story. Today in 1973, a New York Times report says that almost all superfectas run at Yonkers, Roosevelt, and Monticello from January to March of 73 were fixed.
Ouch.
It was today in 1975 that Martina Navratilova asked for political asylum in New York City during the U.S. Open. It would be that same day that Chris Everett would win the first of her 6 U.S. singles titles. Today in 1976, during the Jerry Lewis Muscular Dystrophy Telethon, Sinatra would bring out a special guest, Dean Martin. It would be the first time that Martin and Lewis shared a stage in 20 years. Look at the peacemaker, Sinatra.
Well, he made Jerry an offer he can't refuse.
All right, this one's more for David than anyone else, because I know you probably know this story, but like it regardless. Today in 77, the Angels acquired Dave Kingman from the Padres for cash. 9 days later, the Yankees would buy out Kingman, who started with the Mets, which means that Dave Kingman would play in all 4 divisions in 1977.
Dave Kingman, who apparently was one of the 5 biggest jerks in pro sports history. Because if you look up Dave Kingman, he hit around 450 homers. His final year in the majors, he hit like close to 30 homers, and no one offered him a contract the next year. The sport as a whole basically said, yeah, I can't tolerate this guy anymore. And that's when 30 homers was a lot of homers.
Today in 80, Chris Everett Lloyd wins her 5th U.S. title. In 86, Martina would win her 3rd singles title. In 97, Martina Hingis would defeat Venus Williams for her 1st U.S. Open title. Serena wins her 3rd today in 08. Barack Obama accepts a Democratic nomination for president today in 2012. And it was today in 2020 that Djokovic was disqualified during the 4th round of the U.S. Open for hitting a ball in frustration, striking a line judge.
It was an accident, too. I mean, he was not trying to hit the lines person. It was, and he'd probably, I mean, he was steamrolling. At that time, he would have won that tournament. There was nobody that was going to stop Djokovic 3 years ago.
Joe Kennedy and Dolores O'Riordan, both born today. Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries, passed away much too young. Those celebrating birthdays today, Roger Waters from Pink Floyd is 79. Jane Curtin is 76. I didn't do the math before the show. It makes it, it's a lot easier when I write these down before we get started.
That's all right.
Jeff Foxworthy is 65. And Pippa is 40. You know.
Uh-huh.
You know don't act like you don't know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
The good-looking sister.
And I know exactly why you're talking about her, too.
Damn right.
Let's see. Where do we go? You missed a lot today, historically. I don't know. I mean, at least I think so. President McKinley was shot on this day in 1901. He would die 8 days later. All right, that's how we got the whole Teddy Roosevelt thing. The first ever tank was produced today. It was produced off an assembly line in England in 1915.
Oh, so not the Cardinals. Gotcha.
Let's see. What do we have? The remaining 9 Israeli hostages were killed today in Munich in 1972. Martina, did you took asylum today in 1975? You did have that. Okay, my bad. Cal breaks the record today, 21, because he tied it yesterday.
Yeah.
So 21:31 was today, and what was it? 18 minutes of silence as he lapped the field there. I mean, didn't Chris Berman, and they just let the pictures do the talking. Princess Di funeral today in 1997, 2.5 billion billion people watched.
That one I saw and purposely left for you.
Okay, thank you. You know, and yeah, that's it. There you go. A little something for the effort.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
In what would have been a tragic story, Deputy Kevin Havel and Sergeant Chris Solomon, who are with the Collier County Sheriff's Office, were on duty during the Naples high school football game Friday night when a 75-year-old man went into cardiac arrest. The principal shouted for an ambulance. The 2 performed CPR, saved the man's life.
Awesome.
I don't know if it gets much better than that.
Nope. Way to go, guys.
For the bad, we go to Lake Mary, Florida, where apparently they have a 3-legged bear in the neighborhood. It's known as Tripod. Tripod broke into a home over the weekend and made it to the back porch. The son was home at the time, a little freaked out, shooting the video of the bear outside its home, but the bear had other ideas. They had a fish tank out in their porch, so he had the fish food. Then he walked over to the bar, and the 3-legged bear knocked down 3 White Claws. According to the family, his favorite flavors were mango and strawberry.
Yeah, we ran that show, or we ran that story on the 7. The kids' reaction was actually pretty funny.
Now, do the White Claws then become Bear Claws?
Oh, stop it!
Bear Claw wouldn't be all bad right now. Not going to lie. We go to Bonita Springs for the ugly, where Tim Dittrell lives in the Bonita Springs Country Club community. The course has not been open in years, and a developer started construction on a new neighborhood. When he was in the house and heard the chainsaws going, he ran out to the backyard to find that his 40-year-old mango tree had been cut down by the new developers. Problem was, it was his backyard, not theirs. He's not very happy. Pulte Home has offered to get him a new mango tree in order to make things right. He says, I believe it's a step in the right direction. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, September the 6th, 2023.
Well, we got tennis today, although Alcaraz, I think the only really name male or female who's playing. No, Madison Keys also in action today in the U.S. Open. We have 6 afternoon baseball games. I guess the Guardians are still technically in it. Must win, though, against the Twins. Brewers and Cubs both playing this afternoon. Chicago just 2.5 behind Milwaukee in the NL Central. Red Sox and Rays once again, 6:40 at the Trop. Marlins will host the Dodgers once again, 6:40 in Miami. And
I'd bet the Dodgers today for what it's worth. I think the Marlins' little win streak comes to an end.
You think
I
five
feel like
is enough?
I feel like Billy Bean. I haven't been able to watch them And ever since I haven't been able to watch them, they've been winning. So I think I'm just going to not watch the Marlins until
There
they
you
lose.
go. There you go. Now that's a fan. Now there you go. You do whatever you have to do.
Yep. But as soon as they lose, I will then be frustrated with Bally Sports again. So, yeah.
About my only beef with YouTube TV. No, you don't get the regional cables.
Yeah. I don't know who to blame more there, but they need to fix that. But other than that, it's great. But they need to fix that.
It's taken away from my watching of the Rays and Marlins.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's face it, though. Now you can only watch them Tuesday and Wednesday nights. I mean,
that's why it hasn't been that big of a deal. Caught a couple innings on the radio last night. It was enough for me.
Marlins just a half a game. I mean, come on now. It's September 6th. The Marlins are a half a game out of the playoffs. I mean,
and after they had dipped under 500 to regroup, find themselves and win a bunch of games in a row, that's terrific.
And they look as if they're in position, at least for Felipe to win his bet. Miller and Moulton will have no problem paying off that bet.
I don't hear you I don't hear you knocking on wood. I'd like you to do that, please.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Thank you. All right.
It's still early, 3.5 weeks. A lot can happen now.
A lot of time left.
Yep. I mean, they could lose these next two to the Dodgers. I mean, would that really surprise anybody? Come on now. But 5 in a row, half a game out of the playoffs. All right, cool. I mean, Felipe, now they may get like 15,000 actually show up for a game now.
Hey, don't knock the Marlins. They outdrew the Rays last night by 2,000. They had like 11,000 and change for the Dodgers game. There weren't 10,000 people at the Rays games last night.
What? Rays?
9,100. 9,100, David.
Really no excuse. Also, I mean, two big market teams. Red Sox, Dodgers, respectively.
Wow. I mean, there's only 11,000 for the Marlins, but less than 10,000 people for the Rays who have had the year that they've had. That's brutal.
That is. Wow, that's embarrassing. Can't believe we're back to. I thought we could put that to bed for the rest of this year, the whole any Rays attendance discussion, but man, that's awful. So be curious if we get an injury update about Travis Kelce. Also, in Nick Bosa, Chris Jones, time to show up, right, guys? Get signed. Somebody got to do something, right? Just saying.
You think anybody gets signed today? You think Jones gets his deal done today?
No, I do not. If Jones wasn't in by yesterday, because yesterday was the last practice, they'll have a minor walkthrough today and play on Thursday. So, no, I think he had to be there yesterday. That would surprise me. I think they'll get Bosa done. Miller and Moulton. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey,